It was quite sudden. Tent is a kind of enchantment technique, which is constructed by mantra to cover a certain area. Usually, it is the work of the assistant supervisor and window of the Jujutsu high school to set up the tent. When curse is found at the window, the assistant supervisor is notified to come and investigate. After the assistant supervisor confirms, he then notifies Master Jujutsu to carry out the exorcism work, and then cooperates with Master Jujutsu to enter the place where curse is, and put down the isolation tent. The advantage of this is that the existence of Jujutsu division and curse, as well as the aftermath of the battle between the two sides, are isolated from the public's awareness. After all, in the overall situation of human society, Master Jujutsu and curse are both concealed. Coincidentally, there are also some cursed spirits with powerful curses. When they appear, they will use themselves as the center of the circle and then set up tents. The tents released by cursed spirits have the effect of isolating Master Jujutsu from entering. In this regard, it is necessary for Master Jujutsu to blast away the tents laid by cursed spirit first, and then replace them with his own tents. The intensity of cursed spirit is different, and the complexity and firmness of the tents are also different. Sometimes you can't find the holes of the tents, and you can spend a lot of time and energy without remembering to break the tents. When the 3 members of the Nanami class rushed over, Butano Takuma, the old member of the team, talked more than once about the differences in accounts and the elements of cracking. However, before they had a big fight, the account was broken. Butano Takuma reached out to Itadori Yuji and said, "Itadori, show me that ice pick." "For you." Butano Takuma played with the ice pick, felt the sharp mantra residuals in the coldness on the ice pick, and analyzed. It seems that teacher Lin Feng only used one knife to break through this account, and he cut it off with one knife. The speed is so fast that the account has been lifted, but the breadth of the account has not completely dissipated, which means that the curse user or cursed spirit who set up the account has not yet discovered the clue. Fushiguro Megumi answered, "There are 2 places where you can observe the tent most intuitively. One is inside the tent, and the other is the highest point around it. If curse user or cursed spirit is in the account, it would have disappeared long ago, or a new account has been placed. Then it's the highest and most conspicuous location around. The greater the risk of being discovered, the greater the intensity, and the most dangerous place is the safest." Butano Takuma endorsed Fushiguro Megumi. Itadori Yuji looked confused. "Hey, did you already know? What do you know?" 2201. Shibuya-S Tower. The night wind howled, refreshing, without sleepiness at all. 3 curse users stood at the top of S Tower, overlooking the brilliant lights of Shibuya. "I wonder if Master Jujutsu will find out." Kurosaka, who looked like a little old man, looked in the direction of the tent and said, "The most eye-catching place in the tent is not more eye-catching than the S Tower?" "Probably." Tail Goddess Mother-in-law replied. The thin and tall man said dully, "However, what if we are discovered? There are countless modified humans in this building. It is not easy for them to come here. It's impossible to fly up." The tall and thin curse user hadn't finished speaking when the voice broke from bottom to top. "Crazy." A crisp chirp broke the calm, and under the darkness of night, the bird spread its wings and came up with Itadori Yuji and Butano Takuma. When the quail flies to the highest point, Itadori Yuji and Butano Takuma jumped down, the binding silk thread in their hands stretched instantly, and entangled with the quail in 2 directions. Instantly entangled the 3 curse users. Butano Takuma quickly found the 2 tent nails placed on the roof, and then looked at the little old man curse user with feigned shock. "Itadori, the last nail is in that guy's hand, let him go." "Good." The 2 actors entered the scene directly, both with expressions of bitterness and hatred, and they grabbed the little old man curse user, and handed one end of the silk thread to Itadori Yuji. Itadori Yuji grabbed the silk thread and jumped towards Tower S, pulling the little old curse user off. Falling into the air, the little old man curse user didn't have much panic on his face. He understood the opponent's intention almost instantly, and wanted to use the falling force of the falling object to smash himself to death. "Fu-hei, remove the spell." Itadori Yuji swayed into a certain floor and shouted at the same time. The bird flying in the air was released, and the little old man curse user fell straight to the ground. Itadori Yuji quickly ran downstairs to meet Fushiguro Megumi. Looking at the little old man who smashed the deep hole curse user. "Huh. Is that guy dead? Why is the body so clean?" "Not dead. Fushiguro Megumi is ready to fight. Stop pretending, old fox, get up." "Hey, really, young people nowadays really don't know how to respect their elders." The little old man curse user slowly stood up from the ground. "It's time to go, Fu-hei." Itadori Yuji rushed up regardless of the situation, wrapped his fist with magic power, and punched the little old man curse user in the face. After a long period of accumulated combat experience, Itadori Yuji's taijutsu has risen to a terrifying level, and his punching power, speed, and even moves are gradually impeccable. When the first punch hits the enemy, knee strikes and elbow strikes and a series of fighting skills followed in just a few seconds. Fushiguro Megumi was also amazed when he watched behind him. He and Itadori Yuji have been practicing together. It has to be admitted that Itadori's growth is almost leaps and bounds. The ability to learn is too strong. If you don't use magic and just fight in close combat, you shouldn't be Itadori's opponent. It is hopeful in the future, but almost now, it is worth 3 kills. The little old man, curse user, ate all of Itadori Yuji's attacks, and was unscathed except for some dust on his body. Half Moon. In a flash, Fushiguro Megumi came behind the little old man curse user, and the cursed tool drew out its sheath, cutting half a month away. The blade cut across, and the little old man curse user's back was cut open, and blood spurted out. Oddly enough, however, the little old man curse was fed back with an uninjured body. If punching and kicking doesn't work, then the blade wound should respond. Eat pain, stagger and the like. The little old man curse user rubbed his back, looked at his own blood, and laughed instead. Young and promising, worth killing. It seems that my luck is good, and I have met 2 magicians who are worth killing. Shouldn't you be so exaggerated? Could it be that this guy's technique is attack nullification? Itadori Yuji was stunned and said, Fushiguro Megumi's half moon slash. I felt a chill on my back when I saw it, but nothing happened to this curse user. Little devil, do you have this strength? The little old man, curse user, walked straight towards Itadori Yuji and Fushiguro Megumi, without launching any spells or intending to launch an offensive. Jing Ting Fist. Itadori Yuji rushed forward again, wrapping his fist with mana, slowing down the speed of the second blow. Boom. A forehand punch hit the little old man curse user's abdomen with precision, but all the strength was like a mud cow sinking into the sea, and it was of no use. The second blow of Jing Ting Fist gathered at one point and hit again. The little old man curse user took the initiative to meet Itadori Yuji's fist, waved his hand, and slapped Itadori Yuji's face with a tyrannical force, knocking him into the air. At the same time Itadori Yuji flew backwards, Fushiguro Megumi got on the offensive, leapt high, and hit the little old man curse with a whip leg that fell to the ground. Your strength is inferior to that kid, isn't it? A star and a half. The little old man curse user turned his head and glared at Fushiguro Megumi, then slapped him flying with his backhand. As long as I am alive, I will ravage the weak to my heart's content, I will never retire. Itadori Yuji looked at the wounds on himself and Fushiguro Megumi, and then at curse user, an amazing little old man. What the hell is this guy? It can't be explained by a strong ability to resist attacks. Fushiguro Megumi's eyes stared at the little old man curse user. Teacher Lin Feng taught him more than once, when you can't see the situation in front of you, don't be too anxious to look with your eyes, but look for flaws with your heart. Hey, Gojo Satoru has come to Shibuya, and we also have a Jujutsu master who can kill special grades. If you are wise, you can catch him without a fight. The little old man curse user chuckled. I thought you would let me run for my life, but I didn't expect you to catch me without a fight. Little ghost, your idea is good, but this bluff is useless. Gojo Satoru may be bluffing the guys in other places, but here, Gojo Satoru is sealed. Didn't you call it? Otherwise, why do you think I played games with you on the street? If Gojo Satoru was real, I would have gone home to play games. As for the other Jujutsu master you mentioned who can kill the superclass Jujutsu, I know. What about the master who killed Hanao and Shuden Doji, who is unparalleled in the limelight? There are always a lot of superclass cursed spirits to entertain he. Fushiguro Megumi said calmly. It seems that I guessed right, you can't beat Gojo Satoru, nor Lin Feng, so the spell can't be invalidated. The little old man curse user said disdainfully. Rory, you are so talkative, if you don't want to fight anymore, then I will show mercy and kill you. Itadori, get ready. Fushiguro Megumi casts the spell, making a hand like a rabbit. Take off the rabbit. 10 kinds of shadow spells, get rid of the rabbit. After summoning the rabbits, I saw groups of rabbits jumping towards the little old man curse user. Where did the rabbit come from? The little old man curse user dodged left and right, for fear of being hit by a rabbit. Fushiguro Megumi reminded. Itadori, I already know that guy's technique, you will cooperate with me later, we are like this. W. As expected of you, Fukuro. Itadori Yuji gave a thumbs up, complimenting Fushiguro Megumi without reservation. It's so reliable. The little old man curse user looked at the bouncing bunnies that surrounded him, as if he was facing some terrible opponent. He didn't dare to move. The Shikigami who rely on numbers to make a feint, want to delay me, and then take the opportunity to make a decisive blow? The little old man curse user was active. The next moment, the bouncing bunnies surrounded by a group were resolved and summoned. The little old man curse user looked up subconsciously, only to see a black shadow crashing down from the top of his head. Full elephant. Boom. The ground vibrated, and the surface was directly cracked. What the hell is this? It really scared me. The muscles of the little old man curse user's body swelled, and he lifted up with great force, throwing the huge elephant directly into the air. Snapped. The elephant summoning is cancelled. Hey, cancelling and summoning the Shikigami, are you interested? If you are a man, you should be above board, and hit the front. The little old man curse was a little annoyed. The kind you said, over there. The little old man curse user looked along where Fushiguro Megumi was pointing, and saw that a car had been smashed against his face. What kind of strange power is this? Smelly old man, give me a blow. Itadori Yuji rushed forward again while feeling the jingling fist, faintly preparing for Black Flash's move. A sure blow, come on. The little old man curse user became excited and launched the strongest blow, so he was happy. My own spell is strong and weak. After activating the spell ability, as long as you are attacked, the more powerful the attack, the less you can hurt yourself, and vice versa. The weaker the attack, the more you can cause great damage to yourself. But sorry. To a certain extent, the battle between people is to seek to defeat the opponent, so the strikes will only become heavier and heavier, and they desperately believe in the crushing of strength, but this is exactly what they want. The little old man curse user took out a dagger, and he decided to launch a counterattack while the opponent's strongest blow fell. Just when Itadori Yuji was about to punch the little old man curse user, Itadori Yuji stopped punching instantly and flew over the head of the little old man curse user. What? He actually stopped fighting. Pooh. Severe pain came from the abdomen. The little old man curse user looked down and saw that his abdomen had been penetrated. Why? Fushiguro Megumi maintained the shape of the summoning Shikigami's hand, and the shrimp's long tongue stuck out, piercing the little old man curse's abdomen. When did you find out? He was answered by Itadori Yuji's iron fist of justice. 3 times, 5 times and 2 times defeated the little old man curse user, and then tied him back to the side of the road with a strong rope. Fushiguro Megumi took out his mobile phone. Let me report and let the assistant supervisor come and arrest people. Curse user is different from cursed spirit. The latter can be exterminated directly. If the former dies in battle, then it is another set of procedures. Shibuya, the top floor of S Tower. Butano Takuma was left alone. He was entrusted by Mr. Nanami to take care of 2 lovely backs, so he resolutely chose to let Itadori Yuji and Fushiguro Megumi fight against one. And I stayed 1-on-2. Old woman, you are tall and thin, you are unlucky to meet me. Butano Takuma said to himself. I will give you one chance at last. If you are captured obediently, I will spare your life. How about it? Mother Tail God didn't respond to Butano Takuma's proposal. She immediately meditated on the spot, closed her eyes, clasped her hands together, wriggled her shriveled mouth, and uttered a series of weird odes. Butano Takuma launched an offensive, and the tall and thin man hurriedly protected the Tail God mother-in-law, and the people with her. Boom. Boom. The thin and tall man was not Butano Takuma's opponent at all. After several rounds of fighting, was left with injuries all over his body, but Butano Takuma did not have the slightest joy. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. If the tall and thin man was really that weak, he should have been beaten away long ago. However, under the current circumstances, the tall and thin man with injuries all over his body has no intention of retreating, and he is bound to stand in front of the old woman. There must be something wrong with them. After Butano Takuma realized his enlightenment, the eulogy of Grandma Taigami also finished reading. It's ready. Understood, Grandma. The tall and thin man took out a mysterious pill and swallowed the bottle. Suddenly, an extremely dangerous breath emanated from the thin and tall man. Butano Takuma's pupils shrank suddenly. This aura was already comparable to a level 1 curse. Zenon Shear. Tail Goddess Mother-in-law's final summoning words fell. Half of the thin and tall man's face squirmed, and another person's face gradually emerged. How do you feel, grandson? Well, it feels great. It's never been better. When the thin and tall man spoke the second half of the sentence, his whole person was completely transformed from his appearance, height, body shape, and voice. Transformation by seance. You are a psychic witch, Butano Takuma blurted out in shock. Tail God's mother-in-law's eyes were half opened and half closed. Son, I didn't expect your cognition to be okay, but you were lucky to die under his hands. Butano Takuma looked at the man walking slowly in front of him. He didn't have the breath of magic power on his body, but his own suppressive force made the hairs stand on end. Definitely a very dangerous person. Number 4, Dragon. Butano Takuma launched the magic formula and directly used the strongest blow. Whoosh. A gust of wind blows, Butano Takuma's headgear has been taken off. So fast. Butano Takuma looked sideways, and what he saw was a fist enlarged in front of him. Boom. A punch hit the cheek, and the sheer force almost failed to crush Ju's real head. Zenon grabs Butano Takuma by the collar and pulls him towards him, a lightning-like right fist hits him. Wow. Butano Takuma vomited blood, and his consciousness was a little sluggish. Nothing. Zenon grabs the unconscious Butano Takuma, throws it down the stairs like throwing garbage, and falls down from the height of 40 stories in Tower S. Any Jujutsu master will definitely die. Well done, grandson. The mother-in-law of the tail god praised. Go down and kill all master Jujutsu. Zenon sheer. Grandson. Old and immortal. Fu Haisher's eyes were like lightning. Who do you think you are giving orders to? What? Tail goddess bounced up from the ground, and quickly distanced herself from Zenon Shire. What's going on? Old man. I just took out the information about the body from his corpse. Take it out. That's what happened. Fu Haisher's mouth curled up. I'm not very clear about the specific situation. Anyway, my body is special, so this guy's soul can't control my body bar. How can it be? Tail goddess mother-in-law's cognition was broken and the soul lost to the body. Is it possible? Forget it. You're going to kill Master Jujutsu, right? Fu Haisher appeared behind tail goddess mother-in-law at a strange speed, without fluctuations in mana power, purely at the peak speed of the body, too fast to be noticed. You can also be regarded as a Jujutsu teacher. At the same time as Fu Haisher's words fell, a punch exploded the head of Taishan's mother-in-law. Ah, is this the world more than 10 years later? Fushire admired the night scenery of the city. Shibuya has also undergone great changes. I don't know if the current Jujutsu masters have regressed compared to before. And Gojo Satoru. Just when Fu Haisher was about to take a good look at the world more than 10 years later, a gust of night wind blew, and icy blue ice crystals floated in the sky. Fu Haisher turned his head and saw an unexpected person. Lin Feng, is that you? The person who came was Lin Feng. Lin Feng glanced at Curse User's body on the ground, and then returned to Fushire. I just came here to take a look. I didn't expect you to really appear. What? Fu Haisher said indifferently. Lin Feng, you have changed a lot compared to 10 years ago. Perhaps because of the sight of acquaintances, Fushire talked a little more. Forget it, Lin Feng, are you here to catch up with me? By the way, where is Gojo Satoru? It was sealed. Lin Feng said concisely. Cursed Spirit carried out a series of activities at Shibuya Station, sealed Gojo Satoru, and severely injured many magicians. What do you think of this information? Fu Haisher smiled even more. Lin Feng, you have really changed a lot. I like this temperament very much. I like it so much that I want to kill you immediately. Lin Feng said without caring. It doesn't matter, anyway, I don't intend to let you live. Fu Haisher, set by Lei Evil. The son-in-law of the Zenon family, the notorious killer of Master Jujutsu more than 10 years ago, because of heavenly restriction, he had no magic power, but he got an extremely powerful body. After a series of fights, he became the nightmare of Master Jujutsu. 12 years ago, the astral event. Fu Haisher is the man who breaks everything and establishes the present in one fell swoop. To sum it up in one word, crumbs. How dare you say it? Fu Haisher said proudly, 12 years ago, I killed Gojo Satoru once, and even Sha Yuja was no match for me, Lin Feng. Do you think you? Boom. Before Fu Haisher finished speaking, Lin Feng, who opened the 6 doors, had already punched him. What did you say? Lin Feng's 6th door, Jingmun, opened, and the mantra, vigor, and sweat mixed and evaporated, forming a light green flame that hovered around his body. He punched out, and the power was directly transmitted to Fu Haisher. Boom. Power poured into Fu Haisher's body, knocking him back a few steps, almost falling to the ground. What kind of power is this? Fu Heshin was startled. It's not that he hasn't dealt with Lin Feng before, and it's not that he doesn't know Lin Feng's spells. This guy was just average before. The strength is not bad, but it is close to Gojo Satoru and Sha Yuja, and the only way to face himself is to be tortured by blood. But now, why is it different? Lin Feng raised his brows. As expected of the body of heavenly restriction, Fu Haisher, don't be shocked there, show your strength. Lin Feng. Do you mean to compete with me in close combat? Fu Haisher said to himself. Although I don't know what is going on with your strange strength, but I want to tell you that close combat is not about strength. It will work. I don't mind if you use Jujutsu. As a former Jujutsu master killer, Fushire doesn't even know how many Jujutsu masters he has killed. Is as strong as Gojo Satoru, weaker than a guy whose name he can't remember, and has all kinds of skills, but for him explain. It's all clouds. No spell is as powerful as his own. In order to survive in the cruel world that eats people without spitting out bones, Fu Haisher has long made a deal with the devil and trained his body to the extreme. If you want to use Jujutsu to penetrate yourself, it depends on the ability of the Jujutsu master. If you want to use Taijutsu to defeat yourself, that is a dream. Biolian's words. When Lin Feng's voice sounded, his figure had already arrived in front of Fu Haisher, and he punched out with a fist. Fu Haisher smiled evilly, and immediately greeted Lin Feng with faster and harder fists. Swish. Fu Haisher's punch missed, and the jab brushed Lin Feng's hair, and Lin Feng, who bent down, loosened his fist and slapped the ground. His whole body bounced up, and kicked on the ground Heschel's chin. The huge kicking force kicked Fu Haisher into the air, and Fu Haisher fell in a free fall posture. Before he could adjust his body shape, Lin Feng had already appeared behind him and was level with him. The light green magic power was like a rope, binding Zine and Shire all around, and then grabbed the ground with his head. Boom. The contact surface paved with extremely hard floor tiles on the roof of Tower S instantly cracked. The smoke and dust were blown by the night wind, and Fu Haisher, whose head was bleeding, cast heavenly restriction on Lin Feng. It has to be said that Fushire is a genius in physical arts. Although heavenly restriction has given him a good foundation to a certain extent, without the hard work he has acquired, his physical accomplishments are far from what they are now. If an ordinary cursed spirit ate a shot of Biao Lianhua in Lin Fengjingman's state, he would be smashed to death, but Fu Haisher only bleeds from his head. Lin Feng, your taijutsu is actually so strong. Fu Haisher shouted excitedly. It's better than all the Jujutsu masters have killed, I'm so excited. Excited? Let's be more excited, boom. Fu Haisher punched Lin Feng in the face, but the former didn't feel the slightest pleasure. Because he knew that the punch had to be a hit, but was hit on purpose. Lin Feng, are you ashamed? Humiliate you? No, for a scumbag like you, it's too late to beat you. How can you have time to humiliate? After receiving Fu Haisher's punch in the face, Lin Feng came close to him, Li Lianhua. Zenon shrank his pupils. Subconsciously he had to guard his chin. If he was kicked again, his chin would be shattered. Zenon is highly concentrated and ready to defend. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng punched, and just as the fist was about to land on Fu Haisher, Lin Feng turned his fist into a palm and slapped Fu Haisher's abdomen. The huge force rushed upwards, and Fushire flew to the high school again. The rope of magic power was wrapped around one of Fushir's wrists, and while Lin Feng pulled hard, dozens of right punches had already been punched. Blowing down like a storm, Fushire was like a flat boat on a stormy sea, which could only be swallowed up. Lin Feng's forehand fist swung faster and faster. The ultra-high-speed forehand fist rubbed into flames in the air, and balls of fireballs fell, landing on Fushire. Towards the peacock, in the Jingmen state, Biao Lianhua, Li Lianhua, Chao Peacock, and Fu Haisher were all slapped together. Falling like a meteor, the entire Tower S trembled slightly. Fushir's figure pierced through the ceiling from the roof, and penetrated through the ceiling of more than 10 floors in a row, lying on the ground straight, spitting blood. There were also pieces of internal organs mixed in the blood. Lin Feng. You are the same as Gojo Satoru. Lin Feng came to Fu Haisher, and Fu Haisher had no strength to stand up. You, just like Gojo Satoru, makes people hate you. However, can only be impotent and furious now, isn't it? Lin Feng knew that Fushire could not survive now. It's not surprising that this guy was awakened through the psychic witch's resurrection technique. Even if there are Fushire up and down, it can be said that it is neither. After all, he is not the Fushire he was 12 years ago. Lin Feng is not the Lin Feng of 12 years ago. Lin Feng. How is Wei Wei? The only human brilliance in Fushiguro is Fushiguro Megumi. He is very good. He has inherited 10 shadow spells from the Zenin family. He is now my student and will be a great Jujutsu teacher in the future. Did you inherit it? Fu Haisher said again. I have one last question. What is Hui's surname? For the first time, hope appeared in Fu Haisher's pupils. Fu Hei. Lin Feng said indifferently. He has the technique of the Zenin family, has the blood of the Zenin family, and will inherit the position of the head of the Zenin family in the future, but his surname is Fuhei. After finishing speaking, Lin Feng turned his head and glanced at Fushir. This guy had already passed away. With Fu Haisher's death, the psychic effect on his body was also lifted. Fu Haisher's soul returned to heaven. This guy should have heard it, right? Lin Feng was not sure whether Fushir heard the answer, but after thinking about it, he said it anyway. As for whether he heard it or not, it depends on whether Fushir himself has that luck. Teacher Lin Feng. Lin Feng came to the first floor of Tower S, and was greeted by Zenin Maki and Kugisaki Nobara. They had cleaned up all the reformers in Tower S. What about that man? It was naturally Butano Takuma that Lin Feng asked. Just when Lin Feng came to Tower S with Zenin Maki and Kugisaki Nobara, Butano Takuma just flew down from above. Thanks to Lin Feng who was below, otherwise this guy would have been smashed to pieces. The injuries are serious, but not life-threatening. Zenin Maki pointed to the side where Butano Takuma, who had passed out, was leaning against a tree. Kugisaki Nobara said, Mr. Lin Feng, are we going to send this guy out for treatment? It's necessary to send it out for treatment, but we don't need it, Lin Feng said. What's the meaning? As soon as Kugisaki Nobara's voice fell, a bird in the sky flew over his head. This is Fuguro's Shikigami, are they nearby? Teacher Lin Feng. Before Itadori Yuji arrived, the voice came first, and the voice was so loud that others could not hear it. Itadori Yuji and Fushiguro Megumi trotted forward to meet, and before they had time to say hello, they saw the seriously injured and unconscious Inagami. Butano Fushiguro Megumi's brow furrowed. It's not life-threatening. Lin Feng patted Fushiguro Megumi on the shoulder. But the injury is too serious and needs to be sent to Shibuya for treatment. Fushiguro Megumi nodded. Teacher Lin Feng, I understand, I'm here to escort Butano out. Can. Fushiguro Megumi wasted no time, summoned the Jade Dog, picked up Butano Takuma and left the main force. Itadori Yuji looked at Lin Feng, then at Kugisaki Nobara and Zenin Maki, feeling sad. Ms. Lin Feng, Mr. Gojo Satoru. Are sealed. Lin Feng. I know. Does Teacher Lin Feng know? Kugisaki Nobara slapped Itadori Yuji on the head with a long-lost chestnut. Idiot. You shouted so loudly that even Curse could hear it, okay? Itadori Yuji. Lin Feng clapped his hands. Okay. Now is not the time for small talk, let's go to Shibuya Station first. 2202. Tokyo Metro, the section between Meiji Jingamai Station and Shibuya. You know what my spell is, right? It's just that you can manipulate crows. Super weak, right? Mei Mei is an elegant woman, and she is very elegant even in battle. When I was young, I tried my best to train myself, so that I could fight without using spells. Looking at you sitting paralyzed in front of me made me realize once again that the hard work I had done was not in vain. Mei Mei held a large-scale cursed tool straight axe in one hand, looked down at the curse user lying on the ground, and said, Stop hitting. Please. I swear I won't be involved in this matter anymore. Please let me go. Please let me go. Hush. Yu on the side made a booing gesture. Quiet, sister hasn't finished her sentence yet. I used to keep convincing myself that the real value of Master Jujutsu is not the technique, but this has reached the limit. Whether it is physical ability, or the physical enhancement achieved through Jujutsu, there will be no endless growth. I encountered a bottleneck, experienced setbacks, and then became more and more courageous. By formalizing my technique again, I finally became a first-class Jujutsu master. Mei Mei's eyes were blurred, and she felt like recalling the past. Crack, clap, clap. Little Fan Yu is very good at timing, and immediately applauded. His own applause is not counted. His eyes flickered, and he glanced at Curse User. Why are you standing there? Applause. Curse User didn't dare to say anything, and clapped his hands quickly. The smile on Mei Mei's face became even bigger. Okay, you can go to hell now, I'm just trying to pass the time talking to you so much nonsense. Curse User lay on the ground trembling, and kowtowed to Mei Mei. I'm really sorry. I will never do anything wrong again, and I will make up for it. so please hold me high and spare my life. Mei Mei glanced at Yu Yu and said with a smile, Yu Yu, what do you think the value and weight of life should be proportional to? Does it need to be said? Of course, it depends on how much use value you have for your sister. To some extent, Yu Yu is really dog-licking behavior towards Mei Mei. Hee. That's a good answer. Mei Mei really likes Yu Yu's sense of propriety. This kid is very smart, so smart that he makes himself happy. Curse you, what do you think? Curse user couldn't hold back a fart for a long time, and still just kowtowed on the spot. As a killer, you can't immediately make a measurement and answer it, so you will lose your life. By the way, the value of a life to me is his potential. At the same time as the voice fell, Mei Mei's axe also harvested curse user cleanly. Selling Gojo Satoru's great favor, how much profit will I get back in the future? It's really exciting to think about it. Street of Songtao Cultural Village, outside the tent. Since the Shibuya incident kicked off, the Jujutsu division was completely passive and led by the nose. In addition to the division of Jujutsu masters, flying around like headless chickens, the auxiliary supervision of non-surgery is also a great consumption. As an auxiliary supervisor between the connection window, high-level command and Jujutsu division, it is also a high-risk occupation. For example, the current Akira Nida accidentally ran into a curse user. Ah, it's a girl in a suit. I'm so happy. Curse user, who was holding a sword in his hand, kissed the hilt of his arm. All the men I met just now were men in suits. I'm tired of chopping. It's nice to have a young lady. Curse user. Akira Nida pulled out his pistol and pointed the muzzle at curse user, trembling slightly. Ah. Is Miss Sister going to shoot me with a gun? How could it be like this? I will be sad. Curse user's smile became even bigger. Killing is not suitable for girls, let me do it pure. Boom. 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 Akira Nida took a deep breath, forcibly suppressed the panic in his heart, raised his gun to aim, and then pulled the trigger to shoot. A series of 3 bullets were shot at curse user accurately. The auxiliary supervisor does not have too strong combat ability, and is generally stronger than ordinary people, but it is far from enough to deal with curse user. Therefore, auxiliary supervisors will basically be equipped with guns, but to be honest, when life and death are at stake, pistols are also powerless. Miss Sister is really ruthless. Curse user waved the blade in his hand at will, blocking 3 bullets. Shin Tianming gritted his teeth and fired several more shots until the magazine was empty before turning and running away. Running away doesn't necessarily give you a chance of surviving. But if you don't run away, you will die. Miss, don't run away, let's chat. With the mentality of a cat catching a mouse, curse user casually followed Akira Nida. No matter which direction he fled, or how fast he fled, the speed of the two was always kept within a certain limit. Xintian Ming panicked and ran into the underground passage, accidentally fell down the stairs and sprained his ankle. In desperation, Akira Xintian could only flee with a crutch. Miss, I'm tired from playing. At some point, curse user appeared in front of him. The blade in his hand was shining with a cold light, and he could take Nida Akira's life at any time. Curse user, I curse you to die. Nida Akira shook his head, closed his eyes, and decided to die calmly. However, the imaginary feeling of being pierced by the blade did not appear, and Nida Akira opened his eyes. Nanami Kento, who wore a suspender shirt on the upper body and pressed suit pants without wrinkles on the lower body, exuded the atmosphere of the elite upper class appeared. Nanami Kento turned his head and looked over, saw Akira Nida and curse user. Well, you guys look very strong. I'm also wearing a suit, what do they say? People in black suits can be killed, but people who are not in black suits should also be able to kill people, right? Mr. Nanami. Akira Nida's heart calmed down a little. Nanami Kento walked over step by step, took off his favorite leopard tie, and wrapped it around his right palm. What is the number and configuration of your accomplices? Nanami Kento's voice sounded. Huh? Hey, can you figure out the situation? Who allowed you to come here so casually? Curse user pointed the sword in his hand to the side. I have a hostage here. Ah? Akira Nida limped away knowingly and without trouble. At this time, Tianhai Kento has already come to curse user. What is the person and configuration of your accomplice? I don't know. Curse user teased, kicked out like lightning, and kicked directly on Nanami Kento's body, but the kick feedback didn't feel like a human body at all. Your accomplice. Nanami Kento grabbed curse user's leg. What's the number and configuration? I said it all. I don't know. Base. The Nanami Kento technique is launched, and the magic spell falls. As long as the spell is activated, no matter who the opponent is, they can forcibly create weaknesses on the opponent. Divide the length of the target into equal parts, and forcibly open up a weak point at the position of 7 to 3. As long as it hits, it can trigger a critical strike. Boom. Curse user was beaten and turned 720 degrees in the air, and his whole body was smashed against the wall like garbage. Wow. Curse user opened his mouth and spurted blood, his body trembling, his pupils contracted suddenly. Dying. Absolutely dead. If there were no spells, he would definitely be dead. Can't fight, can only run. However, before Curse user stepped forward, Nanami Kento raised his long hair. What is the number and configuration of your accomplices? Exactly the same conversation. It seems that he can't say a word that is superfluous. I said it all. I don't know. Curse user is going to cry. Is this Jujutsu teacher a devil? Obviously I have said it many times. If I don't know, I just don't know. Boom. Nanami Kento hit the 7 to 3 point again with a punch. The wall cracked instantly, and blood mixed with internal organs spit out. On the way here, I saw several auxiliary supervisors who were killed. Nanami Kento grabbed Curse user's neck with one hand. You killed everyone, right? Sorry. Boom. Nanami Kento's final blow landed on Curse user's face, and the force of the critical punch directly shattered Curse user's brain. After finishing Curse user, Nanami Kento glanced at the dark place. You can come out now. Akira Nida limped out of the darkness. Mr. Nanami. Miss Zintian, it's not suitable to stay here for a long time. Let's evacuate to a safe area first. Nanami Kento is a man of few words. After dealing with Curse user, on the way to the safe area, he didn't say a word, just walked in front to explore the unexplored area, and at the same time slowed down his walking speed. Well. Akira Nida couldn't help crying out in pain. He was chased by Curse user just now, and sprained his ankle in desperation. Now it's getting worse and worse. It's so serious that he can't walk anymore. Mr. Nanami, I'm sorry. Nanami Kento turned around and came back, and said, Miss Nida, are you single? Huh. Akira Nida's brain obviously short-circuited for a moment. Did he feel so painful that he had an auditory hallucination? Mr. Nanami. What did you say? Is Miss Nida single? Nanami Kento said again. Now it's not an auditory hallucination, and it's clear. Nida Akira's face turned red immediately. He hesitated and said, Mr. Nanami, let's talk about this at this time, isn't it? Miss Nida can answer truthfully. No, never, and we can't find any boyfriends in this line of business. That's good. Nanami Kento adjusted his glasses and said, Miss Nida, I am also single, so we are single men and women, and there is no possibility of further contact causing trouble to each other, so what position do you like? Hold or carry? After listening to Nanami Kento's words, Nida Akira wished to find a hole in the ground to get in. At this moment, he still had pink bubbles and girlish thoughts for a moment, but he didn't know that Mr. Nanami just saw that his legs were inconvenient. Hug. Nanami Kento hugged Nida Star Princess. Miss Nida can hold my neck. Just like that, two people walked out of the underground passage in an extremely ambiguous posture. Akira Nida raised his head several times to look at Nanami Kento's face, inexplicably feeling that Nanami Kento's cold and serious style is very attractive. And then, Akira Nida, I think you are completely crazy. Why do you still want to have something at this juncture? The wonderful development of the assistant supervisor and Jujutsu teacher, you thought it was an idle drama? Akira Nida despised his own thoughts in his heart more than once, but couldn't help but look at them. Mr. Nanami, did you see any other auxiliary supervisors on the way here? Nida Akira asked without a word. Nanami Kento. There are many, but most of them have been killed. Even Aijichi was not spared. This time the Shibuya incident, the curse side was organized, disciplined and premeditated, and our side has always been passive. What, Aijichi too, how come? Akira Nida was confused. Miss Nida, don't worry, Aijichi is not life-threatening. Although he was seriously injured, he has been treated. After all, he was originally determined to become a Jujutsu teacher. Akira Nida breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, that's right, Mr. Nanami, after you send me to a safe place, do you want to add it to the account again? Nanami Kento hummed. The situation is out of control now. Gojo Satoru is sealed. There is a special grade cursed spirit in Shibuya Station, and there are reincarnation activities outside ordinary people. I have to pull out more. What's wrong? It's nothing. I just want to treat you to a meal after everything is over. Then let's make an appointment on the weekend. There are 2 days off on weekends. Tokyo Metro, Shibuya Station basement 5th floor. After Mei Mei and Yu dealt with the two curse users, they followed the subway line from Meiji Jingamai Station to Shibuya Station. Oh, it's you. Mei Mei and the fake Sha Yuja officially met and greeted each other. Miss Ming, long time no see, fake Sha Yuja said with a smile. Just now you sent a killer to make trouble for me, you really have face. When Mei Mei spoke, her mind became active. She never expected to meet Sha Yuja on the 5th basement floor of Shibuya Station. Wasn't this guy killed by Gojo Satoru in the Hyaki Night Walk incident last year? So what can stand here unscathed? Could it be that behind the Shibuya incident is the combination of Gojo Satoru and Sha Yuja? Bold ideas jumped out one after another, but were quickly denied by Mei Mei herself. If Gojo Satoru really wants to, he can do it directly. There is no need to play joint strategies. After all, no one can stop Gojo Satoru. Compared to Gojo Satoru, I like you more than Gojo Satoru. Your vain smile also won my heart. I never thought that I would kill you now. It's really a trick of good fortune. It's really a pity. Miss Ming, I'm also very sorry. The fake Sha Yuja activated the cursed spirit operation, and directly summoned a super cursed spirit, because I had to kill my former student Resistance with my own hands. The fake Sha Yuja turned and left, and said leisurely, just in case, I plan to keep the people on the 5th floor alive. I will go back to the track and wait. If you can get rid of this one, I will accompany you. Yu looked at the big guy in front of her and felt very strenuous. Sister, I'm afraid this guy is already a superclass. Premium to be determined cursed spirit, herpes god. The herpes god suddenly rushed towards Mei Mei, and the mantra that spewed out spread instantly and began to build. Mei Mei looked at the changes around her, and was also taken aback. Is this domain expansion? Within the domain constructed by the herpes god is a barren cemetery. Elder sister. A black coffin that fell from the sky shut Yu in, and the god of Pepes folded his hands, making a tomb hand shape. Boom. A huge stone fell towards the top of Mei Mei's head. Kaka. The huge stone didn't last for 2 seconds before it was blown apart from the inside. Mei Mei held up the axe in her hand, her red lips slightly parted. I really miss it. I can't remember clearly. The last time someone killed me, it was many years ago. Within the cemetery area, there are all kinds of graves everywhere. The herpes god can't speak, but can only use his abilities tirelessly, and all his attacks are dodged by Mei Mei. After a while, Mei Mei figured out the mechanism of the herpes god. This guy needs 3 steps to activate his spell ability. The first step is to hit the black coffin, the second step is to drop the tombstone from the sky, and the third step is to count down for 3 seconds. Once the 3 conditions are fulfilled, the trapped person will be simulated to get sick and die. It still looks a little tricky. Mei Mei thought about it for a while, and the must-hit effects in the field of the herpes god are coffins, tombstones, and 3-second countdowns, and the most troublesome thing is the second step tombstone. Boom. The tombstone fell from the sky again and hit Mei Mei. With a swing of the axe in Mei Mei's hand, when she cut the tombstone, some wounds appeared on her body. If he is hit by the tombstone twice at most, he will not be able to maintain his usual state. It is not a wise thing to face Sha Yuja in that state. Yu, are you alright? Mei Mei has a new strategy in mind. Although the Scar God's spell is tricky, it can only hit one target at a time, and it is a judgment for the most powerful spell in the field to launch an offensive. Then the only way is to change its attack judgment from itself to Yu, so as to buy time for it to act freely, but in this way, as long as it gets a tombstone attack, Yu will definitely die. Yu, are you willing to die for your sister? Ah. Well, can I really die for my sister? Good. The conversation between the siblings suddenly became strange. Yu immediately exploded her own magic power, while Mei Mei suppressed her own magic power. Boom. A coffin directly locked Yu inside, and the god of scars folded his hands to summon the tombstone to fall. Wow. The tombstone did not fall, but the arms of the scarred god were lowered. Mei Mei waved the axe nobly and gracefully. Do you think that I brought him with me just to carry my luggage? The worrying task is to deal with the domain, and I don't like to owe favors, so I leave these things to him. Gululu. The sore god struggled a few times, his severed arm grew back, and rushed towards Mei Mei. At this moment, a black crow directly penetrated the body of the cell god. Do you know the easiest way for Jujutsu masters to greatly improve their abilities? It's about risking your life. Sister, am I right? Yu always cheers for Mei Mei at the most suitable time, and only he knows it best. The elder sister's technique, Black bird manipulation, whose real ability is kamikaze, at the cost of forcing the crow to sacrifice its own life, erases the limitation of magic power on the originally weak animal. Let it launch a suicide ram on the enemy. After the Sword God was expelled, the domain also dissipated. Mei Meiyu waved her hand, and groups of black crows circled around her. Are you willing to die for me? Then it's time to deal with the real enemy. Tokyo Metro Station, the second floor of Shibuya Station. Lin Feng took Itadori Yuji, Zenon Maki, Kugisaki Nobara, and the group finally arrived at Shibuya Station where Gojo Satoru was sealed. In the original plot of Jujutsu, all the key battles are Mei Mei and Brain Flower Chasing Battle, Zenon Zebaran and Maki and Nanami Kento's Tuolong Battle, Laziran's Slaughtering Battle, and Itadori Yuji's Fate Battle with Cursed Embryo 9 Phases, etc. Due to Lin Feng's intervention, the situation has changed a bit. Masato had already been killed on the 5th basement floor of Meiji Jingamai Station. Judging from the ending, Nanami Kento and Kugisaki Nobara were saved. Since the Shibuya incident, Zenon Maki has been by her side every step of the way, and she can't be hurt in the Tuolong encounter. As for the Zenon Jippei of the Zenon family, that's not within the scope of consideration. A group of 4 people got off the elevator and met the bulging face head-on. When Liu Shang saw the target Itadori Yuji, he didn't care that there were other people standing beside Itadori Yuji. Crimson blood manipulation by Lien. This move is to pressurize the blood and compress it to the limit. Bai Lien gathers the compressed blood at one point and sprays it out. The speed of the blood that has been strengthened by the spell can even reach the speed of sound, which is the profound meaning of the red blood manipulation. Bleeding. The blood arrow came with the momentum of thunder, killing in an instant, probably because there were 3 people beside Itadori Yuji. When the blood sword pierced and came, it was directly divided into 4. Speeds beyond the speed of sound, can't escape. It's really rude to do it as soon as you come up. Lin Feng pulled out the ice wheel pill hanging from his waist, and the ice wheel pill slashed down at will. Call. Ice crystals and frost even filled the surrounding area, and the extremely cold temperature instantly affected the piercing blood, freezing it in the ice cone. Seeing that the blood piercing was cracked lightly, Bao Zhang's eyes also fell on Lin Feng. You want to stop me from avenging my brother? No, I just want to say something. Lin Feng waved his hand. I have no intention of making a move. I am the teacher of this child. As a teacher, I will watch your battle. Can you give him some hints? Not only the swelling, but even Zenon Maki and Kugisaki Nobara were dumbfounded. Mr. Lin Feng, why is this? Because curse. Lin Feng opened his mouth and said, Nagasaki, do you still remember the 88 bridge exorcism mission you carried out before? The 2 you exterminated were called Bad Appearance and Blood Painting, which are the 2nd and 3rd of the 9 cursed appearances. And the one in front of you is one of the 9 phases of the mantra, the expansion phase. What? Kugisaki Nobara looked at the bloated face and said in disbelief, there's too much difference in the style of painting between them, isn't it? In short, Bad Face and Bloodsmear played curse for you before they died, and it's not a problem that curse has always existed. It just happened to happen, so let's solve it. Kugisaki Nobara nodded half understood. Mr. Lin Feng, then let me join. She still remembered that it was herself and Itadori Yuji who killed those 2 guys, and in this matter, she and Itadori Yuji were accomplices. No, you can just watch the battle. Let the cute female students go to fight. That doesn't hurt. Let the male students do it, it doesn't hurt. Itadori Yuji understood. Sighing, he bit the bullet and chose to fight. The bulging eyes were still fixed on Lin Feng. What kind of medicine are you selling in your gourd? I'm not selling medicine, I'm just watching the battle, don't worry, we won't interfere. It's not that Lin Feng is ruthless. In the original plot of Jujutsu, after the Shibuya incident, Liu Shang will be the partner of justice. If it is done by himself, then it will be the corpse of the partner of justice. Instead, it would be better to sharpen the Itadori diagram through this battle. Zhang Zhang's gaze shifted from Lin Feng to Itadori Yuji. No matter how many people were on the opposite side, no matter how strong Master Jujutsu was, no matter what conspiracy was brewing. No matter what happens, Bao Shang's heart to avenge his 2 younger brothers remains unchanged. He lives for the bad face, the bad face lives for the blood paint, and the blood paint lives for himself. This is what the father told his 2 younger brothers. The brothers' vow of the Trinity is also a curse of love. Now, the 2 younger brothers are dead. As the eldest brother who survived, he absolutely must avenge his younger brother. Red blood manipulation, by Lien, bleeding. The supersonic blood arrow is much faster than expected, at least Itadori Yuji thinks so. The second blood piercing was not blocked by teacher Lin Feng, and by the time he realized it, his arm had already been pierced. But Itadori Yuji is no longer a simple little character. He forcibly endured the pain of piercing blood, and the Jing Ting fist hit the bulging phase with an eye for an eye. Boom. Boom. After Zhang Shang was hit by Jing Ting's fist, a trace of surprise appeared on his face, a rare attack with one blow twice. I have something to ask you. Shang Shang opened mouths and said, my two younger brothers, did you leave any last words before they died? Younger brother. The nervous Itadori Yuji didn't hear what Lin Feng just said. 88 bridges, the two you killed. Itadori Yuji recalled the situation at that time, but the answer was a minefield. It seems that there is nothing left, but I remember, they seemed to cry. Cried? The bulging ice cube face immediately lost expression control, like a volcano erupting. Bad face, blood smear, look at the full strength of Big Brother. The bulging phase gave a loud shout and put his hands together. The red blood manipulation has never been so boiling like it is now. The blood in the whole body is concentrated at one point, like the bow before shooting an arrow. Call out. The blood arrow burst out and directly hit Itadori Yuji's forehead. If the pain is strong, it will be explained here. In the nick of time, Itadori Yuji released the mono-lead weight on his leg, let go of the restriction, dodged the blood piercing at a faster speed, and then launched an offensive towards the swelling phase. If you don't have time to think about too many things, let's knock down the opponent first. Itadori Yuji's speed is very fast, and he dodges the blood piercing and close body expansion in just a split second. Just when Itadori Yuji was fighting hand to hand with Zhang Shang, Zhang Zhang's eyes flickered, red blood manipulation supernova. Boom. Liberate the compressed blood and scatter it in all directions like a shotgun. Itadori Yuji was hit head-on, and several blood holes were blown out of his body, and the blood flowed profusely. Boom. Itadori Yuji's foot was pierced, and he simply kicked the face of Chushang directly with the pierced foot, and then with a big hand, he locked his head and hit his knee. Injury for injury, life for each other. I know why my brother lost to me, Lu Shang said, but you must die. Red blood manipulation, red scale leaping. Expansion slapped Itadori Yuji's face with a slap, directly slamming it against the wall, and the wall burst instantly. Crimson blood manipulation by Lian. A fight between Itadori Yuji and the bloated phase. The remaining three people watched the whole battle. Kugisaki Nobara was a little anxious. Mr. Lin Feng, Itadori Yuji will die like this. Zenon Maki is also unknown, so looking at Lin Feng, it seems that this is a bit too much for the purpose of tempering Itadori Yuji. Lin Feng had a panoramic view of the battle situation. Itadori, listen to my advice, blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. Itadori Yuji, who was pierced and beaten to the ground, heard Lin Feng's words, looked around, and then saw a public restroom. The next moment, Itadori Yuji ran straight into the public restroom. Zhang Shang chased after him without thinking, but after rushing into the public bathroom, it was not Itadori Yuji's surprise attack that greeted Zhang Shang, but the water erupting everywhere in the bathroom. All the faucets were smashed, and cold water spurted out wildly, splashing the swelling all over the head and face on the spot. The wet bulging phase wanted to coagulate Bai Lian, but found that Bai Lian hadn't worked. The red blood operation is based on the operator's own blood as the basis of the operation. In order to improve and maintain the effect of the red blood operation, the normal blood will not have a coagulation reaction. Therefore, the blood in the swelling phase is more soluble in water than normal people. In addition, in the blood exposed to water, under the action of osmotic pressure, the red blood cells will expand and the cell membrane will be broken. The blood cell composition, which accounts for about 45% of the blood volume, is no longer under control, and Balian is therefore ineffective. Lin Feng's prompt can be described as hitting the nail on the head, enough to turn the tide of battle. Crash. In the public restroom, cold water gushes out, soaking Itadori Yuji and Luke. The expansion phase at this time can no longer operate on the blood outside the body. Inflation must stick. Yuji's heart has never changed, and he lacks experience. At this moment, I don't fully understand what has changed in myself. Since Bai Lian fails to coagulate blood, then change the method. Her scales leaping. Carrying. If you can't control the blood that condenses outside your body, then change the blood in your body and give it a vassal with stronger melee capabilities. Boom. 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 The public restroom was left shattered by the aftermath of the battle between Itadori Yuji and Takasho, both already desperate to use their strongest taijutsu to bring their opponent down. When Itadori Yuji, who has fought dozens of rounds and has better physical skills, has a chance to win. Sudden mutation. A blood clot that has not been in contact with water, is not soluble in water, has been solidified and compressed to the limit, and has been strengthened by mantra, pierces Itadori Yuji's body. The outcome has been divided, and the expansion is even better. Itadori Yuji flew upside down and landed hard on the ground, unable to get up again. Not dead yet, dying. Lu Shang slowly walked up to Itadori Yuji. To that world, I apologize to my two younger brothers. Just when the swelling was about to give Itadori Yuji the final blow, a memory that did not exist suddenly appeared. Boring. Like a voice in the cold darkness, Ryomen Sukuna, who was lying on the mountain of corpses, looked down at Baoshang with disappointment in his eyes. It would be defeated by someone of this level. Ryomen Sukuna was lying on the mountain of corpses, lying on his side, propping his cheek with one hand, looking down from a high position. There was no fluctuation in his eyes, only disappointment. It's just too weak. Itadori Yuji is weak and really can't stand it. If it were placed thousands of years ago, the curse in front of you would not even be qualified to be your own seat. Itadori Yuji, do you need help? I can crush this ant to death with one finger. Don't get me wrong. Ryomen Sukuna was never a partner of justice. I will not do things because of anyone or any situation, and everything has been pursued by my own heart. The reason why he proposed acting as a proxy was because he was bored and wanted to kill. Itadori Yuji's consciousness was sluggish, but he still rebuffed Ryomen Sukuna firmly. You bastard, don't even think about it. Outside world. The bulging phase has already fallen into a deep shock, and the memory that appeared in his mind out of thin air made him have a splitting headache. In my memory, it was a sunny afternoon. The four brothers had a picnic in the countryside. The breeze is not dry, and the years are quiet. As the eldest brother, the bulging phase brought Itadori Yuji, the bad phase, the blood smear, and the other younger brothers who were still in the seal began to eat Hisai, pushing cups and cups. Memory is so real, under the interweaving of reality and illusion. The bulging phase collapsed. Looking at Itadori Yuji, who was helpless in front of him, Kusho grabbed his hair desperately. Ah. 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 This is impossible, absolutely impossible. What happened? Why would you? It's impossible, why? It's not true, it's a lie. For a moment, Zhang, who couldn't tell the truth from the fake, seemed to run away from the bathroom. Itadori. Lin Feng walked in with Kugisaki Nobara and Zenon Maki. Kugisaki Nobara quickly stepped forward to check the injury, and panicked. Mr. Lin Feng, Itadori is seriously injured, what should I do? Don't worry, just leave him to me. Lin Feng walked over and picked Itadori Yuji out of the men's room, and went straight into the undamaged women's room next door. Nagasaki, Maki, give me some time, you two were responsible for not letting anyone disturb me. Yes, teacher Lin Feng. After explaining something, Lin Feng put Itadori Yuji on the ground, and Itadori Yuji's eyes were half opened and half closed, and his breath was like a gossamer. Itadori, relax, let your body go and don't think about anything. Itadori Yuji didn't know what Lin Feng was going to do, but he trusted Lin Feng unconditionally, and slowly closed his eyes. Kaze stretched out his fingers and pressed Itadori Yuji's eyebrows, and at the same time closed his eyes. Next moment. Lin Feng's spirit has successfully invaded Itadori Yuji's inner world. Spiritual invasion of other people's inner world is a small skill signed in a few days ago, and now it comes in handy. Of course, the reason why it is so smooth is also because Itadori Yuji does not set boundaries. Inner world. This place is purely Ryomen Sukuna's paradise. As far as the eye can see, it is surrounded by blood-colored pools, and in the center of the pool is a high mountain of bones. Is there any trash who doesn't have eyes and wants to spy on me? Ryomen Sukuna cast his gaze. When seeing Lin Feng, the inner world became quiet. After a long time, Ryomen Sukuna said the second sentence, it's you? Seeing Lin Feng, Ryomen Sukuna's mood became complicated. So far, Ryomen Sukuna has passed through the Kai twice. The first time was crushed dryly by Lin Feng in 10 seconds. The second time, it was still crushed in 10 seconds. In Ryomen Sukuna's heart, Lin Feng has long been listed as the one who must be killed. As long as he retracts his fingers and breaks the seal, he will be the first to kill him. However, now that the fingers haven't come back completely, and he hasn't tried to take Itadori Yuji's body by himself, This guy actually came in by himself. Lin Feng looked at Itadori Yuji with a warm smile on his face. Ryomen Sukuna, I'm not used to raising my head and talking to people, come down. Ryomen Sukuna changed from lying on his side to a sitting position. Why should I go down? Standing on a high place and looking down is my style. Your cup is not good enough. Cupping is a skill. The water here is very deep, and you can't grasp it. Lin Feng said flatly. Because you are not qualified to cup in front of me. So you come down. Ryomen Sukuna. Ryomen Sukuna is as cool as Ryomen Sukuna can't say a word. It really lost to Lin Feng twice, this is a fact. It's impossible to say that the lack of fingers is not the pinnacle, right? It's too lucrative. That would be worse than killing yourself. Ryomen Sukuna stood up, but never walked down. After all, the compelling style of King of Curses is not so easy to put down. Lin Feng yawned, lost interest, turned around and left. Ryomen Sukuna suddenly panicked. Does this guy have something to tell me? What the hell is going on? Lin Feng turned around and just walked out a few steps, when Ryomen Sukuna appeared with a cold face from the pool of blood in front of him. What do you want to tell me? Heal Itadori Yuji. Huh? Ryomen Sukuna thought he heard it wrong, and healed Itadori Yuji. Why? Why did I save him? Without waiting for Ryomen Sukuna to reply, Lin Feng continued. There is no such thing as a free lunch. As a deal, I will give you a death, probably when you are 15. 15 fingers. That's right. In order to revive you, Curse collected your fingers desperately and sent them over. At that time, about 15 fingers will be restored. When you come out, I will fight with you. Having said that, Ryomen Sukuna was moved. If he could really recover to the strength of 15 fingers and fight this guy, then as a deal, it is not impossible to treat Itadori Yuji. Is what you said believable? Lin Feng smiled. Ryomen Sukuna, before asking a question next time, think about whether you are worthy. As soon as the words fell, Lin Feng walked away directly. Outside, the women's restroom. Lin Feng opened his eyes, and within 3 seconds, Itadori Yuji also woke up. Mr. Lin Feng, what you just said. It's true, because there is no need to lie. Lin Feng patted Itadori Yuji on the shoulder. Itadori, welcome back, you just need to follow your heart and save Satoru. As for other problems, the teacher will be fine. I know noon. 2220. Inokashira Line, Shibuya Station Street exit. Nanami Kento sent the injured Akira Nida to a safe area and returned to the tent. Then he met Zenin Jibirin and Inumaki Toge of the Zenin class, and they teamed up to the underground station. Gojo Satoru is actually sealed, it's really puzzling. Zenin Naobi said so, but there was not much worry on his face. Nanami Kento walked in front, and said with a calm face, I also feel the same, but even if there are counterfeit ones, it must have something to do with Sha Yuja. I think it must be related to this matter. Zenin said with a smile, however, for me, it would be a joy if the Gojo family can decline. Wooden fish flower. Inumaki Toge crossed his arms, expressing that Zenin Mabi thought it was wrong. Ha ha ha, sorry. Zenin Naomito scratched the back of his head. I forgot, Gojo Satoru is the teacher of you, a spellcaster brat. But having said that, the next battle will be very tricky, Cursor Kid, you have to cheer up. Salmon. In this way, the three of them walked for a while, and when they arrived at the waiting platform, an extremely strong mantra power diffused in it. Pickled cabbage. Inumaki Toge reminded Nanami Kento and Zenin straight neighbors. Well, I see. Nanami Kento and Inumaki Toge worked hard, and at the same time noticed Toge with half of his head protruding from behind the pillar in front. I come. Sensing that the aura on Tuo Lang was very strange, Nanami Kento stepped out, tightly tied the cursed tool kitchen knife in his hand with a leopard tie, and greeted him first. However, it is not waiting for Nanami Kento to strike first. Zenin Jibirin activated the spell ability first, and came later, turning Tuo Lang into a picture. Your movements are too slow. However, before Zenin Jibirin could be proud, the Tuolong picture in his hand trembled. Zenin Zhenbirin threw the picture out, and then punched the picture with a fist, which exploded like hitting glass. Tuo Lang's body was also sent flying. Tuo Lang, who fell to the ground, opened his mouth and vomited wildly, vo 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 vo. A large amount of saliva and mucus spit out on the ground along with countless bones. Seeing so many skeletons, Zenin Zhenbi also sobered up a bit. Bastard. How many people did you eat? Woohoo. Lehu, Taoist, Wa Yu, Flower, Imperial. It's you. You killed Hannah Yu. After the shrill cry, Tuo Xian's body shriveled like a balloon, and from the shriveled skin, Tuo Lang's complete body also appeared. So that's the case, no wonder it's so weak. The one just now was just a curse embryo. Tuo Lang was suspended in midair and the fingertips had concentrated spell power. The next moment, the overwhelming salty seawater poured in, filling the entire underground station in an instant. Hush. The underground station instantly turned into a sea of kings and lords, and Zenin, Nanami Kento, and Inumaki Toge gave way one after another. Inumaki Toge pulled down his collar and opened his mouth to cast a spell. Water, flow back. Under the effect of the mantra, the seawater that was originally full rolled back and poured into the Tuo Lang. Tuo Lang opened his mouth and sucked all the seawater back. Zenin waved his hand, and the white card swirled around him. Cursed spirit. Do you know how many frames are in 1 second of animation? Tuo Lang. My name is not Cursed Spirit, I am Tuo Lang, and the same goes for Hua Yu, Zhenren, and Luhu. Zenin Zhenbi laughed out loud, and said to himself, in recent years, the trend is to focus on increasing the resolution and frame rate blindly, 4K 60 FPS. Don't you think it's too indecent? We all have names. Neither Zenin Zhenren nor Tuo Lang listened to each other's words, and Nanami Kento had already come behind Tuo Lang before the words fell completely. The cursed tool in his hand was mixed with 10 strokes of spells and struck the back of Tuo Yan's neck with a critical strike. Don't move. Under the effect of the mantra, Tuo Lang's movements were frozen for a second. Within a second, Nanami Kento and Zenin took the opportunity to output crazily and deal full damage. A second later, Tuo Lang resumed his action, and the counter-shock injured Inumaki Toge unscathed. Inumaki Toge wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Menteiko. Nanami Kento adjusted his glasses. It can't cause damage, it feels more like it has infinite health. If 2 first-level Jujutsu masters and spellcasters can't get rid of it, the situation is very serious. Zenin Jabiran has completely sobered up. Can the protective wall of water still use the big move at the same time? There are too many spells, and it seems that there are other spells, so we can only crush it with speed before it can move. Zenin Japiran and Nanami Kento cooperated to attack Tuo Lang with a higher speed continuous attack, and the dog circle was assisted by a spell. The ultra-high-speed combo is a good entry point. Tuo Lang can't catch the attacks of Zenin Jabiran and Nanami Kento under the influence of the spellcaster. Immediately after more than a dozen critical blows, Tuo Lang's body was welded to the ground, and the underground station was trembling. One bang. Zenin Japiran and Nanami Kento didn't intend to give Tuo Lang a chance to catch his breath, and they had already come close to him the moment he fell to the ground. Tuo Lang, who fell on the ground, did not dodge or dodge, his lips murmured. Domain expansion. Dang Yun flatline. The magic power roared out, and the domain was successfully constructed in an instant, dragging the 3 people directly into the domain. The domain of Tuo Lang is a coastline, with coconut trees on the shore, blue sky and white clouds, giving people an unreal feeling. Quack quack. The weird-looking seafish Zhang Lai's sharp teeth rubbed against the arm of the Nanami slut, the flesh and blood on the arm was torn off, and the shirt was instantly stained red. The Shikigami in the domain has a certain hit effect. I didn't notice it before I was hit. No, it didn't exist before I hit it. Click. The monster seafish was chopped up in an instant, and Zenin Naobaran made a gesture. Secret legend. Love of fallen flowers. Love of falling blossoms, a technique of anti-field passed down from generation to generation by the big 3 sorcerer families. It will not expand its own domain like a simple domain, but when the enemy's must-hit spell touches itself, it will release its own magic power to fight back, so as to protect itself. In the turbulent seawater, Tuo Lang's figure emerged from the water. He had just tried his hand at the bottom of the 3 Jujutsu masters, and the result was similar to what he had guessed. The strongest one is the old man, with first-class combat experience, spell power storage, and spell ability, and the man in the suit, who is slightly inferior to the old man, but also remarkable, and the last one is the spellcaster. There is one thing to say, in terms of spell ability, spellcasters are the most threatening existence to Tuo Lang. After all, no matter how fancy the offensive is, spells can irreversibly violate the rules. But it's a pity that the spellcaster in front of him is too weak to force him too much, it's just a little troublesome. Old Man 7, Man in Suit 2, Spellcaster 1 Tuo Lang divided the strength of the 3 people according to the 10-point system, and made corresponding strength adjustments at the same time. Spell Liberation swarming the army from the dead. When the skill ability was activated, A group of fish with strange shapes broke through the water in an instant on the originally turbulent sea level, and rushed towards the three people on the shore. Student Gumaki, Shikigami won't charge straight at us, but will cut off our flesh in the next moment. Nanami Kento shouted. The only thing you can do now is to contain cursed spirit. Inumaki Toge immediately yelled at Tuo Lang in the sea. The spell is suspended. Peeved. However, it is a pity that the strength of Inumaki Toge and Tuo Lang are too different, and the effect of the spell cannot be effective, but it directly backfires on Inumaki Toge. All over the sky, a school of weird fish had already rushed to the shore, and began to attack and bite the three people. Tuo stepped on the water now, with his arms outstretched, like a sea god. Water is the source of life. The sea is the source of life. The army of dead soldiers can continuously summon Shikigami from the sea until they eat you all. On the shore, Nanami Kento and Dog Rolling Thorn were seriously injured, and Zenon Zebi was not much better. Although he has the feeling of falling flowers, he can resist the bite of weird sea fish, but it is not absolute. As Tuo Lang said, the sea is the source of life, and the continuous sea fish can crush three people just by the amount. In comparison, it is only better than the other two. Crisis. Huge crisis. It was only a matter of time before the three spells were eaten raw by the monster sea fish. Just at the critical moment, a new domain invaded Tuo Lang's domain. Domain expansion Chimeric Dark Shadow Garden. In the seawater, a black beam of light soared into the sky. Among the black beams of light, the figure of Fushiguro Megumi rushed out, Senior Gumaki, Mr. Nanami. Tuo Lang's eyes turned to the uninvited guest who broke into the field, and the deadly army was relieved in an instant, and the three people who were covered in bruises got a little respite. Student Fu Hei. Fushiguro Megumi's magical ability is activated, and the hand shape is changed. Shrimp and Quail Shikigami were summoned, and at the same time, Heiwei drew a sword. Thunder Moon slashing. The slash that fell from the sky hit Tuo Yu's arm, and a wrist was cut off on the spot. Tuo Lang stepped back a few steps, and his severed hand grew back again. It's extremely stupid to take the initiative to invade my domain. Fushiguro Megumi is well aware of the horror of Tuolao. When he saw the combination of Zenon Nahito, Nanami Kento, and Inumaki Toge all overturned, it was obvious that the train in front of him was the one with extremely high strength among the special grades. Mr. Nanami, hit it with this, it will give you electricity. Fushiguro Megumi throws the cursed tool dagger to Nanami Kento while expanding the realm again. After receiving the cursed tool Teidao, Nanami Kento, who was full of scars, brazenly launched an offensive against Tuo Lang without saying a word. Mature men have always been very reliable, even with Teidao, Nanami Kento uses superb skills. Following Nanami Kento's waving of the blade, those flying in the sky are also waving their wings, and the electric current is poured into the cursed tool Teidao, which conducts water, and soon Tuo Lang's attack is a little bit neutralized. Coupled with the restraint of Fushiguro Megumi's opening field, the advantage of attaching cash has been greatly weakened. Crash. Tuo Lang jumped into the sea, wanting to summon the dead army again, but he couldn't summon for a while. It glanced at Fushiguro Megumi thoughtfully. That boy started his domain in my domain, and now the two domains are in a state of tug of war. It seems that if you want to call back the dead soldiers, you must first destroy that boy's domain. It's very simple. With the thought in Tuo Lang's mind, the black belly squirmed, and two long strange fish instantly attacked Fushiguro Megumi. Base. Nanami Kento arrived in time, stood in front of Fushiguro Megumi, and killed the strange fish with a single blow. Fuhei, I will protect you. You should concentrate on maintaining the domain first. Since Fushiguro Megumi's domain and Thunder Teidao can neutralize Tuo Lang's technique, then this is the hope of a comeback, and the core of the comeback is Fushiguro Megumi. On the other side, the Zenon Japyron with the broken arm also appeared behind Tuo Lang, and directly fought hand to hand. Ahem, stop. Cough cough cough, don't move. Even in the pain of backlash, Inumaki Toge used spells to restrain Tuo Lang with a spout of blood. In order to deal with Tuo Lang, everyone is desperate. Although it is only one arm, it has been with me for 71 years, and the price is very high. Zenon Japyron, who has always been indifferent, also ushered in a highlight moment, dragging his disabled body. Under the pure body technique, he even faintly suppressed Tuo Lang. However, the good times didn't last long, and Fushiguro Megumi reached the limit one step ahead. Mr. Nanami, that octopus is wrestling with me with domains, but I have another purpose. I'm going to open a hole in its enchantment. The hole I hacked in has been filled, and it's much more difficult from the inside than from the outside, but I can still open a hole for a single person to go through and hold it for a few seconds. That guy is not Mr. Gojo. It is impossible to open the field several times in one day. As long as the few of us escape outside, we will win. My feet are the edge of the enchantment. I touched it when I invaded, so I can be sure. You can act at any time. Please jump in, the three of you at the same time. Nanami Kento. We won't leave you here alone. Although I will fight with my life, it doesn't mean I don't cherish my ding. In the field, there are dangers everywhere. At a critical moment, Fushiguro Megumi's words are firm and powerful. Nanami Kento didn't hesitate either. He turned his head and shouted at Zenin Jappiron and Inumaki Toge, who were fighting Tuolong on the shore. You two, assemble. Even as a super cursed spirit, Tuo Lang could not 100% understand the meaning of human words. Nanami Kento's message was very tactful, but Zenin and Inumaki Toge received it immediately, and rushed out into the sea without hesitation. This is the trust in the first-level Jujutsu teacher, and it is also the trust in the companions. The idea of escaping outside the realm, which had been ruled out as a possibility before, returned to the list of options. Tuo Lang looked at the four people gathered on the sea. He was a little confused, so, although within the domain, the effect of the attack was temporarily ineffective, but his own dead soldiers rushed out of the sea. Isn't it courting death if you go to the sea? Is it to strengthen the protection of that boy? It doesn't matter, it will be more convenient for me to catch you all. Tuo Lang said something to himself, and in the next moment, an unbelievable idea appeared. Wrong. Tuo Lang's body rushed forward and chased him out. Nanami Kento shouted, "Jump to Fuhei's feet." Fushiguro Megumi used the domain to forcefully appear in the Tuo Lang domain, directly opening a hole leading to the outside world. However, just as they were about to jump in, a slender figure jumped in one step faster. Under the sunlight, the vision in Lin Feng's eyes is hanging upside down. It looks like Tuo Xian rushing from the ceiling. It looks like the timing is just right. The appearance of Lin Feng was unexpected by everyone. After all, this is a big node. The original plot of Jujutsu, during the Battle of Tuoue. Fushiguro Megumi desperately opened the life channel, but none of his own people got out, but was jumped into by Fushir, who was shoulder to shoulder. But now, Fu Haisher has been crushed in the birthplace of Tower S, and Lin Feng who rushed all the way to replace him naturally. Shoot him, sharpshooter. Lin Feng unsheathed the Zanpaka saber and sharpshooter at his waist, and the silver-white blade pierced through like a white rainbow piercing the sun, directly hitting Tuo Lang's body and sweeping him back to the shore. Fushiguro Megumi looked at the figure in the sky, with tears in his eyes, Teacher Lin Feng. The always calm Nanami Kento couldn't help exclaiming, Senior Lin Feng. Inumaki Toge. Salmon. Zenin Shinbi. This is Gojo Satoru's class assistant? Lin Feng's gaze swept over the four people, and the wounds on everyone's bodies were not minor, and the killing intent in his gaze immediately gushed out like a substantial one. If you hurt my students and juniors, then you should die as an apology. The person directly connected to Zenin quickly stopped Lin Feng. Lin Feng. That guy is a super cursed spirit, you can't deal with it, don't be impulsive. As for Lin Feng's memory, Zenin Jappiron only knows that he is a student of Yae Masamichi, Gojo Satoru's classmate and class assistant, a teacher at Jujutsu High School, and an unremarkable quasi-first-level artisan division. It's no wonder that Zenin's lack of news is no one's fault. After all, he is already 71 years old. He doesn't pay attention to the internet and the latest news like young people. His biggest hobby is drinking, either awake or drunk. If it wasn't for the sudden incident in Shibuya, I wonder where I would still buy wine. So he didn't know what Lin Feng had done in a short period of time. Nanami Kento reminded, Mr. Zenin, Senior Lin Feng killed a super spirit. Zenin Ziboran. What's so great about killing a special level cursed spirit? I have killed a lot of them, but the special level ones are different. Fushiguro Megumi continued. Mr. Lin Feng killed the Hanyu who invaded the high school some time ago, and the super imaginary cursed spirit Shutendoji from Oyama in Kyoto. Zenin's immediate neighbor. On the shore, Tuo Lang had stood up again, his eyes fixed on Lin Feng. Intuition told myself that this Jujutsu master was dangerous. Tuoxian felt it slightly, and his brows were beaming with joy. The boy's domain has been closed, and now there is no involvement of the domain. He has regained control of the domain, and the effect of the domain's sure hit has returned. Tuolong launched the sorcerer, and once again summoned the army of dead soldiers. The strange sea fish all over the sky burst out of the water, roaring towards Lin Feng in groups. Lin Fang's expression was calm, and his hands also formed seals at the same time. Water escape Jujutsu explosive water rush. Who will repair the dam? Lin Feng transformed the mantra in his body into mantra water, gathered it in his throat, and then opened his mouth to spit it out. Boom. It was as if a sea was spit out of thin air, and the sea directly swallowed thousands of strange seafish shikigami into it. After controlling the weird seafish shikigami, Lin Feng immediately launched a second attack. Water escape Jujutsu infinite shark. Lin Feng stretched out his hands, touched the seawater of the first spell, and triggered the second spell. In an instant, the water bombs of 1,000 sharks created by the spell directly met the strange seafish shikigami. This scene can be described as shocking like a scroll. The four of them were immediately numb. Fushiguro Megumi and Inumaki Toge, who have been with Lin Feng for a long time, their hair is going numb, while Nanami Kento and Zenin Naoki are losing their scalps. Too strong. What the hell is this Jujutsu? If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never have believed that they could deal with Tuo Lang in such a way. Tuo Lang himself was also taken aback, because why is the power of Master Jujutsu so terrifying? Almost thought it was his domain. Is it purely that the output of mana power is comparable to the power of the domain? Hey, let the fish play by themselves. Lin Fang's voice sounded from behind Tuo Lang, and Tuo Lang turned his head and saw Lin Feng had already punched behind him. Boom. A Poyan fist almost cut off Tuo Lang's tentacles. Too much time has been wasted, let's deal with you in one go. Lin Fang's voice gradually turned into thunder. 8 doors Dunjia, shock the door, open. Suddenly, the seawater surged, and the blue flames floated in the air, crackling like electricity. Boom. For almost an instant, Tuo Lang only saw a blue figure flashing past in front of his eyes, and when he came back to his senses again, his vision had been reversed. Yes. Tuo Lang was slapped by Lin Feng, his body was straightened, and he hit the sand on the bank straight. Boom. Lin Feng's punches and kicks were unpretentious, under the blue arrogance mixed with mantra, vigor, and sweat, an unpretentious attack has great lethality. Tuo Lang didn't feel like he was a special level cursed spirit, but a 4th level one. Quiet. The field is very quiet. Only the muffled sound of Tuo Lang being fired. The 4 people watching the battle on the sea were already numb. They beat the special grade cursed spirit like a 4th grade cursed spirit. This scene has never been seen before. Strength whirlwind. Lin Feng, who was in a startled state, poured Tuo Lang into the seawater with a whirlwind of force. Water escape curse secret art 1000 food shark. Lin Feng landed on the surface of the sea, pressed his hands to the surface of the sea, and 1,000 physical sharks were instantly formed underwater, biting towards the underwater Tuo Lang. This wave is a reenactment of the famous scene. However, Lin Feng can play the role of dried persimmon ghost shark, but the underwater Tuo Lang is far from enough for Matekai. After a while, the seawater on the sea surged up instantly. Wow. A figure broke through the water and rose into the sky. Astonishingly, it was Tuo Lang who had half of his body gnawed off by Qianshisha. It has to be said that he was severely beaten by physical skills to block the startled state, and was bitten by Qianshisha, and half of his life was left. There is nothing wrong with Tuo Lang's premium cursed spirit. But that's all. Day Tiger. Lin Feng fixed his resolute gaze on Tuo Lang in midair and then punched him out. Accompanied by the bursting fist wind, the fist wind pierced the air. First there was an air explosion, and then the air explosion sounded together, and there was the faint sound of a tiger roaring. Boom. All the fist power is concentrated at one point, and when it reaches a critical value, the Day Tiger descends. It was an air cannon capable of tearing apart the domain. In the blink of an eye, the air cannon had already rushed to Tuo Lang in midair. Roar. When the day falls, the white tiger comes out in surprise. Crack. There was a sound like glass shattering, and the Tuo Lang and its domain shattered like eggshells. Perspective change. Lin Feng slowly withdrew his fist. In front of him was no longer a sunny beach, but the underground passage of Shibuya Station. Tuo Lang was killed, and the other 3 also escaped. Outside, when Itadori Yuji, Kugisaki Nobara, and Zenin Maki saw the 4 people coming out of the field, they hurriedly greeted them. Nana Ming. Fuhei. Itadori Yuji took 3 steps and 2 steps, supporting Nanami Kento, and Kugisaki Nobara was responsible for assisting Fushiguro Megumi. Zenin Maki looked at Zenin with a complicated expression. If he had a choice, Zenin Maki didn't want to face anyone from Zenin's family. But no matter how much she resisted in her heart, she had to admit that in the cannibal Zenon family, the head of the house, Zenon Jabiran, was a person who could see clearly. He also thought about changing the Zenon family. But lost to the stereotypes that have existed for thousands of years, he can only get drunk all day long. In the end, it was even more emotional. Zenon Maki walked up to Zenon, wanting to say something, but didn't know what to say. "Yo, Maki." Naomi Zenon greeted, half-jokingly said, "Shibuya is a dangerous place, you shouldn't come here. You'd better take care of yourself, you still have to be brave without your arms." Zenon Maki said venomously, but there was still a hint of worry in his eyes. Zenon Jabiran laughed. "This arm has been with me for 71 years, it's a pity, it's not a pity, but it made me sober and see some things clearly." Everyone greeted each other a few words, and all eyes fell on Lin Feng again. There is no doubt that Lin Feng is already the backbone of this group. This ridiculously strong man. "Why are you looking at me? Are you waiting for me to make up my mind?" Lin Feng asked. "Lin Feng, today's Shibuya is already a purgatory on earth. The cursed spirit is rampant, our casualties are heavy, and we can no longer take care of the team tasks assigned by the upper management. The one who can, please lead us to break the situation." Zenon Zebi is very transparent, what to say, although it is the first time to meet Lin Feng, but his tyrannical strength has already conquered the head of the Zenon family. Kento also said, "Senior Lin Feng, Mr. Zenon is right, please take charge of the overall situation." 2 first-level Jujutsu teachers spoke, and the rest were not idle. The 3 students had pitiful expressions. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "We don't mean to refuse, what's wrong with all of you?" In the Jujutsu plot, Nanami Kento and Zenon Jipi came to the end of their fate after encountering Tuoyin and Fushir. The latter died at the hands of Liu Hu. It can be said that it is a process of concentrated distribution of knives. In this regard, Lin Feng can only use his mouth to smack the established facts. Lin Feng glanced at Itadori Yuji, Fushiguro Megumi, Kugisaki Nobara, Zenon Maki, Inumaki Toge, Nanami Kento, and Zenon Naoki. "Counting myself, there are a total of 8 people. It seems that there is no need to swim away, just go straight to the 5 underground floors in one's mind. Itadori, I have a mission for you, take care of Inumaki Toge and Fushiguro Megumi. Maki, the head of the Zenon family will be entrusted to you. Kagazaki, you are in charge of taking care of Nanami Kai." In a team of 8 people, half of them were injured, and now there is no medical treatment or reverse surgery that can be treated. The best way is to hand the wounded. At Shibuya Station, where cursed spirit and curse user are hidden, it is already difficult to protect themselves, and the addition of wounded people will undoubtedly make things worse, but they must be defeated. "Teacher Lin Feng, are you looking for me?" Itadori Yuji followed Lin Feng's pace and came to a secluded place. "Itadori, do you remember the promise in the women's restroom?" "Mr. Lin Feng, I remember." Itadori Yuji nodded, and while there, Lin Feng made an agreement with Ryomen Sunan. Ryomen Sukuna heals Itadori Yuji, and Lin Feng agrees to fight Ryomen Sukuna with 15 fingers. Now is the time to keep your promises. In order to treat Itadori Yuji's fatal injury from losing to Takashi, Lin Feng walked into Itadori Yuji's inner world, and the deal with Ryomen Sukuna was also a kind of bondage. Once the bondage is generated, it must be executed according to the agreed rules of the bondage. This is the law of the Jujutsu world. Lin Feng is strong, but this law cannot be ignored. Of course, Lin Feng has never thought of violating the rules, he has always been a man of faith, and he is also looking forward to the official battle with Ryomen Sukuna, and it is not bad to try his cooking skills. Itadori Yuji didn't ask too much, and agreed to cooperate directly. "Anyway, Teacher Lin Feng will never harm himself, Mr. Lin Feng, what should I do?" "It's simple, so and so," in the underground passage. Liu Hu desperately wanted to find the traces of Itadori Yuji, but there was no way. And Crocodile and Chushong were both lunatics. They didn't care about the overall situation at all. They blindly followed the pleasure they wanted to kill, and didn't consider other things at all. Tired. "Itadori Yuji, you must not encounter sand crocodiles in bloated phases first. Maybe everyone in Shibuya is not as concerned about Itadori Yuji's life and death as it is. This breath is." Liu Hu's footsteps stopped suddenly, and she looked towards a direction not far away with one eye. "It's the finger. Ryomen Sukuna's finger is unsealed." Liu Hu didn't have time to waste time, and rushed towards the source of the breath at the fastest speed. On a certain platform, the comatose Itadori Yuji leaned on the pillar, and in front of him were two girls in K uniforms. Sha Yuja's two adopted daughters, Nanako and Mimiko. Mimiko looked around vigilantly. Nanako, hurry up. Be careful that Sukuna's fingers will attract other cursed spirits. I know. Mimiko squeezed Itadori Yuji's cheek and stuffed a Sukuna finger into her mouth. Master Ryomen Sukuna, please wake up. Grunt. After swallowing a finger, faint black lines appeared on Itadori Yuji's face, but he did not wake up. At this time, a hurried footstep sounded. Lu Hu finally arrived at the scene, but it was still a step late. Call. Damn girl. How many fingers did you feed him? No. Impossible to tell you. Really? The clepsydra's eyes flickered, then go to hell. Just when Lehu was about to kill in anger, the unconscious Itadori Yuji groaned twice. Just hearing one hum pulled Lehu out of his anger. The lines on his body have not disappeared. Although the situation is not expected, I have to make the most of it. Lu Hu thought of Sha Yuja's reminder. Even if Itadori Yuji swallowed 20 fingers at the same time, it probably wouldn't allow Ryomen Sukuna to take control of the physical body. But that also depends on the situation. If he devours one finger a day, if he spends 20 days devouring all his fingers, then nothing will happen. If he swallowed 10 fingers at once, his body would not be able to adapt, and the dominance of his body would be handed over to Ryomen Sukuna, although only temporarily. After thinking for a while, Lu Hu made a certain decision, took out a roll of wallet from his bosom, opened the wallet, and there were 10 fingers of Ryomen Sukuna in it. Wake up, Ryomen Sukuna. Lehu grabbed Itadori Yuji's chin and began to stuff his fingers, 10 fingers in a row before giving up. Let him devour 10 fingers, so there are 15 fingers in the body. Just when Lu Hu was thinking and panicking, a tingling sensation came, and one of Lu Hu's hands was cut off, bleeding profusely. Give you a second. Roll. A voice like the god of death resounded. Lehu turned his head mechanically, and saw Itadori Yuji, no, Ryomen Sukuna, who was holding his chin. Lu Hu put down Ryomen Sukuna, her body retreated violently, and her heart was turned upside down. This is Ryomen Sukuna. Another toughness different from Gojo Satoru and Lin Feng. Overwhelming evil. It seems that life and death can be ruled by raising one's hand. Nanako and Mimiko hugged each other tremblingly. Can you breathe? You won't be killed because of this. Ryomen Sukuna scratched the hair in front of his forehead and said softly, the head is raised too high. The voice fell. An inexplicable heaviness came down. Swish. While Lu Hu knelt down on one knee, the Tianling guy was cut off in an instant, and blood flowed from the top of her head to her face. Do you think kneeling on one knee is enough? The fuller the ears of rice are, the lower your head hangs. I think your head is quite light. Let's start with the girls first. Do you have something to say to me? For the sake of one finger, I'll listen to you. Ryomen Sukuna put his hands in his pockets and said with a half smile. Nanako and Mimiko fell on the ground, not daring to raise their heads, and stammered. Here. Underneath is a man with sutures on his forehead and wearing cassock. Please kill him and liberate Lord Duyu. Ryomen Sukuna's second pair of eyes looked in a certain direction. I almost forgot to ask. Do you want to protect these two women? As soon as the voice fell, a figure came out from the corner. It was Lin Feng. What? When she saw Lin Feng appearing, Lu Hu's one-eyed stared wide. Her brain was exhausted, so who could tell herself what happened? Why is this Lin Feng so harmonious with Ryomen Sukuna? Liuhu has already deeply recognized the cruelty and horror of Ryomen Sukuna. This guy is worthy of the king of curses thousands of years ago, the kind that lives up to his name. Just why? Lu Hu wanted to ask, but dared not. Lin Feng looked at Mimiko and Nanako, and said, save your life. There is one thing to say. From Lin Feng's point of view, Mimiko and Nanako are dispensable, they can live or die. When they were young, they were imprisoned and abused by people in a village. Later, Junyuja slaughtered the village and took them away. Since then, they have been with Sha Yuja. Sha Yuja in the later period was also a murderous villain, and the two women who were influenced by him were not much better. So based on this, Mimiko and Nanako have no position to be saved as ordinary people in Lin Feng. The reason why he survived was because of Itadori Yuji. This kid is so kind, he must not see human beings being tortured and killed, even if this person is not so pure. No way, who let him be his student? Ryomen Sukuna's gaze returned to Mimiko and Nanako who were kneeling on the ground. Tisk, congratulations, because of that guy over there, I'll kill you all, go away. Mimiko and Nanako were unmoved, and still begged, We know where the other finger is hidden. As long as we kill him for us, I will tell you. That's what it means to be brainless. Mimiko and Nanako may have been protected too well by Sha Yuja, and they have always been able to easily take the lives of others, or ignore life. This kind of abnormal cognitive concept cultivated in their bones prevents them from understanding the essence of life. There is only one life, and life is precious. If you don't understand such a shallow truth, you naturally don't know the weight of life and the awe you should have. Ryomen Sukuna frowned, already impatient. If it weren't for Lin Feng's face, these two bugs would have been crushed to death countless times. Head up. Mimiko and Nanako raised their heads tremblingly. The next moment, a big slap came from the void and directly sent the two girls flying. Well, it's clean. Ryomen Sukuna picked out his ears, turned his head to look at Lehu who was kneeling beside him. Tien Zhen pointed, right? Very well, cursed spirit, what are you doing? Lu Hu lowered her head and said, don't do anything. Our purpose is to revive you completely. Just because the current Itadori Yuji can't adapt, so you are only temporarily free, you should be clear about this. Before Itadori Yuji returns, tie him up and be able to bind Dong in the flesh forever. You have plenty of ways. It has to be said that Hubao is a cursed spirit with a high level of thought and out of low-level interest. In order to realize your own ideas, you are willing to give everything. It doesn't have to be me who laughs loudly in the wilderness 100 years later. As long as Curse can stand on this land as a human in the end, everything is enough. That's not necessary. Ryomen Sukuna rebuffed on the spot. I don't need anyone to advise me, I have my plan. But. So that's how it is. Hehe, it seems that this is a desperate fight. Ryomen Sukuna glanced at Lin Feng. I'll warm up now, you don't have any objections? You can do whatever you want. Of course, Lin Feng would not have any objections. It was a pity that Ryomen Sukuna took the initiative to kill Hubao, but it saved a lot of means, which is very good. Ryomen Sukuna looked at Luhu and joked, cursed spirit, in return for the fingers, come on. As long as you can hit me once, I will be cursed spirit's subordinate, come on. The massacre between Ryomen Sukuna and Lehu begins. Lin Feng played the role of audience very well on the sidelines. 22:51 minutes. Shibuya Tollgate, Metropolitan Expressway No. 3 Shibuya Line. On a certain rooftop, densely packed curse skeletons have been deployed all around, not even a fly can fly in, and any disturbance in the surrounding area is under control. Headmaster Ieri never left his cigarettes, smoked one after another, puffed and said, anyway, there is a curse, I can stay here by myself. How about that? If this place is exposed, the enemy will come over and kill you immediately. Ieri Shoko glanced at Yae Masamichi, teacher, you are making too much of a fuss. Yae shook her head normally, I'm not exaggerating. You can use the reversal technique to heal others, which even Wu and Lin Feng can't do. If you didn't come, Butano and Aijichi would have died. Isn't that thanks to the teacher's wise decision? Otherwise I would have rushed here after I received Nanami's contact, and it would have been too late. And it can quickly liberate Nanami, and the effect of free movement is also huge. It's a waste to have him as a telephone operator. Yae Masamichi looked at Ieri Shoko who was about to light another cigarette. Shaozi, haven't you quit smoking? I recalled some past events. Besides, you don't even need to check what time it is. I usually go to bed early. Now I smoke to refresh myself and save people. 23:01. In front of Shibuya Stream. Kusakabe Atsuya and Panda are investigating a residential building. Panda. Kusakabe, let's stop investigating the interior of the building? Although there was no way to go out of the tent, ordinary people who could evacuate were basically evacuated. Let's go find Satoru. Tell me, which direction is Shibuya Station coming from? Gojo. Gojo Satoru is endless. Kusakabe Atsuya burst into anger, it's so noisy. There are more than 10 Gojo Satoru in this world. Kusakabe Atsuya continued to walk forward. Now, at this very moment, there is a very high possibility that a weak life is trembling in a certain corner of Shibuya. Specifically, you can imagine it as a little girl in the lower grades of elementary school. If such a fragile flower bone is hurt, you and I are also accomplices. Persuaded, the panda pinched its nose and said, Kusakabe, you are right. A gust of night wind blew, making the windbreaker on Totsuya Kusakabe's body fluttering. Imperceptibly, the image of the whole person grew taller. Now that you understand everything, let me carefully check every floor and every place in each building, even the back of the toilet, idiot. Master Jujutsu is also human. No matter what the Jujutsu division is the one who has the spell in Jujutsu, who can fight curse. But still human. People have the 7 emotions and 6 desires, as well as joys, anger, sorrows and joys, and naturally they also have fears. Atsuya Kusakabe goes to plant trees on the hillside every Arbor Day, and he knows it very well. My technique and ability are not at the top level, and I don't have such a high level of ideological awareness, so I have to die for something. He doesn't want to die. I haven't enjoyed the big time in life yet. After persuading the pandas with 3 or 2 sentences, one person and one panda hadn't walked a few steps before they saw 2 enemies on the overpass. Aren't you high school jujutsu teachers? Curse user didn't mean to do anything. Surrender, if possible, we don't want to kill Master Jujutsu. Kusakabe Atsuya. Of course I don't want to die, but you can't tell me to surrender, so I will surrender. Tell your story in detail. We are the ones who inherit the legacy of Lord Sha Yu. Since you are all college graduates, don't we need to say more? Each of the 2 curse users said a sentence, but they both spoke concisely and said impatiently, should I surrender or not? I hate indecisive men the most. Panda. That. I'm a panda, it's none of my business. Grandma. I just said 2 sentences that count as fart details. Kusakabe Atsuya raised the corner of his mouth as he sucked on a lollipop, but the current situation was exactly what he wanted. The 2 curse users in front of me are already at a very high level. I'm afraid they are the strongest among all the guys I have encountered on the ground. Great, perfect way to pass the time, just let me hang out with these 2 guys, so I don't have to go down there and fight the super cursed spirit. Atsuya Kusakabe had a very fine calculation in his mind, and suddenly felt that it was not a bad thing for curse user to block the way, but a good thing. Click. Kusakabe Totsuya flicked his thumb against the handle of the knife, and spit out the lollipop in his mouth, and the painting style became serious on the spot. True yin flow Ihe Uzuki. If that's your answer, then. Just when the 2 sides were at their swords drawn and the battle was on the verge of breaking out. Boom. A bursting explosion sounded, and the corner of the tall building behind him was directly bombarded by flames. Amidst the billowing smoke, a figure flew upside down like a kite with a broken string. That's all you can do. Ryomen Sukuna's figure followed closely behind, and flashed out, hey, cursed spirit, isn't it? That's all you can do. Lyohu, who was covered in wounds, gritted her teeth. The huge difference in strength made it impossible for her to have the idea of winning, but greed always existed. Lehu remembers to hit Ryomen Sukuna only once, not to defeat it. Even if there is a big difference in strength, you should be able to hit once with all your strength, right? It's not. It's not over yet. The clepsydra pushed out with both hands, and the magma rays were ready to go. Swish. The next moment, Luhu's hands were cold, and the attack went silent, and its hands were disintegrated in an instant. Ryomen Sukuna appeared behind him, clasped his palms together into fists, and hit Luhu's back with heavy blows. Luhu fell very fast, and Ryomen Sukuna chased even faster. When Luhu was about to hit the ground, he buckled Luhu's head, and hit the high-rise roof with force twice in the air. Boom. The tyrannical force directly pierced Luhu from the roof through more than 10 floors, and fell straight to the ground of the first floor. Looking up at the bright moon and looking down at the bright moon. You are really tired, hee. Ryomen Sukuna put his hands in his pockets, relaxed. Ahem. Lyohu was coughing up a lot of blood clots, some came out because of the dirty. At this moment, it remembered the conversation with Sha Yuja. Sheo, you say I'm as strong as a few fingers of Ryomen Sukuna? Roughly calculated, it's probably 8 or 9. Tisk, what Sha Yuja said was too conservative. I have no chance of winning against Ryomen Sukuna. This result is expected, but I didn't expect the gap to be so big. Come on. Get up and continue. Before I get tired of playing, I will accompany you to try it as many times as you want. Boom. The violent flame instantly filled the entire building, and the flames overflowed from all the outlets, like a bucket that was about to be filled with water was suddenly pierced open. Ryomen Sukuna came to the road outside, and Lehu chased him out, because he waved his hand heavily. Extreme fan. Meteor. In the night sky, a lava meteorite covering the sky and the moon appeared, dyeing the night sky red, and the hot and violent mantra directly affected all the Jujutsu masters and curse users around. Kusakabe Atsuya and the panda looked at each other. 36 tactics are the best plan. Turned around and ran into 2 curse users blocking the way. True yin flow draw the sword. Kusakabe decided to draw his sword and withdraw his sword, and cut and wounded 2 curse users blocking the way. The action was smooth and smooth. Listen to me, curse users. The super bosses are fighting for no reason. The current situation is like an elephant tap dancing on top of an ant. In case you misunderstand, let me explain that we are ants. So let's run for our lives together. That can't be done. The banter sounded like the god of death, and Ryomen Sukuna had come to the front. The extremely powerful pressure made Atsuya Kusakabe's body stiff on the spot. From now on, all the people present are not allowed to take any action until I say yes, and those who dare to disobey will be killed without mercy. Just when everyone froze in place and dared not make any moves. Sukuna, change places. Lin Feng walked over slowly. If this blow hits here, many people will be affected and die. I don't want my students to bear those sins, so I changed the place. Expect Ryomen Sukuna to keep the agreement with Itadori Yuji and not kill people when he takes control of the body. It is better to expect Sha Yuja to find out his conscience and unblock Gojo Satoru himself. Ryomen Sukuna will not follow the promise not to kill, but Lin Feng can create a situation where no one dies. Lin Feng, did you make a mistake? Ryomen Sukuna said with a smile on the corner of his mouth. You were just the guy the first want to kill later, and you were trying to command me and put yourself in the same position as me. Position? No, it's you who made the mistake. My words are not asking you or ordering you. It's just a notification. If you don't want to, I can do it myself. For Lin Feng, chopping this blow in midair was just a matter of drawing the knife out of its sheath. Panda. Lin Feng. Panda. Lin Feng extended his hand to say hello. Don't worry, I'm here. Kusakabe Atsuya said numbly, Panda, is this guy Lin Feng? If I remember correctly, this is just a quasi-first level Jujutsu teacher. It's about the same rating as my own, and it can be so calm as Ryomen Sukuna. Yeah, Lin Feng is very strong. The panda nodded, twirling its buttocks while walking and said, Lin Feng, I'll leave this to you, I'll go elsewhere. 1 second Ryomen Sukuna's turbulent kill unforgiven, the next second it becomes a show. Tisk, what a disappointment. Ryomen Sukuna's plan fell through, and he was very upset. Lin Feng pointed in the direction. At 10 o'clock, where can I hit 5? Ryomen Sukuna glanced at Lin Feng, and quickly flashed to the 10 o'clock direction that Lin Feng said. There is also a building complex. The difference is that all the people who can evacuate there are evacuated, and only the reformed people are left. With the help of the aftermath of the battle, no new people will be sacrificed, and the modified people can also be eliminated. It really kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Sure enough, as Ryomen Sukuna fled away to the direction of 10 o'clock, Luhu in the sky, driving the lava meteorite, also turned around and chased after it. Soon, only Curse User and Lin Feng were left on the scene. Curse User has never met Lin Feng, but he has heard about Lin Feng's deeds, especially the conversation with Ryomen Sukuna just now. Ryomen Sukuna actually sold his face, such an existence should not be provoked. For a moment, no Curse User dared to make a move. Lin Feng's glanced at the surrounding Curse Users. This time, in the Shibuya incident, how many people and high-level assistant supervisors have you killed? The heads of the 2 backbone Curse Users on the bridge turned into rattles. We are not with them. The reason why we came here is to liberate Master Shao. We are all Sha Yu subordinates, and we only want to liberate you, so we didn't participate in Shibuya's matter. So this is all. Lin Feng said indifferently. I ask you a question. How much are you willing to do for Sha Yuja? Willing to give anything. As long as we can liberate Master Sha Yu, we are willing to give everything. Money, life, soul, body, everything is fine. After Lin Feng heard the words, he had a good idea in his heart. These Curse Users are indeed fundamentally different from the Naohua group. They are all recruited by Sha Yuja during the 10 years since he was sent to the high school. Now, Sha Yuja is already dead, and his body is occupied by flowers. According to common sense, these guys should fly separately in the face of a catastrophe, but in order to regain Sha Yuja's body, they are just that body, and they have been fighting wits and brains. If you don't reach your goal, you will never give up. It can be seen from this that this group of people has deep loyalty to Sha Yuja. That's enough. Lin Feng said slowly, I will help you get back Sha Yuja's body, and you will use it for me. The moment the voice fell, the surrounding Curse Users all knelt down. Please, Master Lin Feng, please liberate Master Sha Yu. We are willing to put our hearts to the ground for Master Lin Feng. Huh. Is it so easy to promise? Lin Feng was also taken aback. He had the mentality of giving it a try, but he didn't expect these guys to agree so quickly. Curse user responded. Master Shaw, you mentioned Master Lin Feng and Gojo Satoru many times before his life, saying that they are the best friends. Master Lin Feng is willing to lead us, which is also the best arrangement. Hey. Lin Feng let go of his confused thoughts and said, there are no rules, and there is no such thing as a circle, so I will simply set the rules for you. First, from now on, you can no longer kill ordinary people, and you can't attack Jujutsu division at will. Anyone who disobeys orders will be killed by others. Second, hide your contact with me. If I have something for you to do, I will naturally find you. Third, cover up your aura, exit Shibuya Station, clean up the reformed people along the way, and save ordinary people. Fourth, you are responsible for spreading the above to everyone's ears, and it will take effect immediately. Yes, Lord Lin Feng. The high-pitched voice pierced the night sky, and an organization that drifted between black and white was born. Of course, this is all for a later story. An uninhabited residential area. A huge lava meteorite fell from the sky and hit the ground directly, like a meteor hitting the earth. The surrounding ground trembled. With the lava meteorite as the center, the buildings around the city were burned to nothingness. Hoo-hoo. Luhu stood on the lava meteorite, looked at Ryomen Sukuna who was dozing in front of him, and couldn't help but imagine that even Ryomen Sukuna couldn't be unscathed in the face of this blow, right? However, the illusion was quickly shattered. The battle is okay, but what's the use if you can't win? Ryomen Sukuna propped his chin with one hand and asked curiously, why don't you expand the domain? Because I know the power of the theory field, I can't beat you. Leo Hu was very self-aware. Hehe. Ryomen Sukuna sneered and said, because you lost to Lin Feng? Tisk tisk. The thinking of a lost dog has not reached the extreme. Leo Hu gritted her teeth and couldn't say a word. However, it's rare that I'm also a little interested, and the warm-up is over. Just use your best moves to play with you. Centered on Ryomen Sukuna and Liku, all burning flames in the surrounding area are sucked into the past. Ryomen Sukuna waved his hand, and the flames followed it like a spirit. The large amount of flame released just now was directly extracted and compressed. Luhu opened its mouth wide, thinking that no one can surpass itself in using flames. Little did they know that Ryomen Sukuna is located in a different latitude at all. Oh. I thought everyone knew about it, but you are a cursed spirit after all, so it's not surprising that you don't know. Lehu was in extreme shock. Isn't Ryomen Sukuna's art cut or slash? Ryomen Sukuna clasped his hands together, flames danced in his palms. I don't have to worry. I don't bother with magic tricks, put on a posture, let's have a firepower duel. The real battle is often only a moment. Ryomen Sukuna and Luhu stood on the huge lava meteorite and launched an offensive one after another. The world of Luhu became quiet for an instant. It saw the flower in Ryomen Sukuna's hand, and then there was nothing. Memory began to blur, in a pure white space. Luhu saw Hua Yu, Tuolong, and Zhenren. Feel sorry. It doesn't matter, as you said, it doesn't have to be a standing on the wilderness 100 years later, as long as Curse can stand up in the end. When we are reincarnated again, we will no longer know each other, but I still sincerely look forward to meeting you one day. We are called real human beings. Oh? What? So you want to become a human? In the pure white and flawless space, for some reason Ryomen Sukuna also invaded. Oh. I understand this. You are not eager to become a human, but are you envious of the status of a human? I understand your thinking, which is why I feel more boring. Both people and cursed spirit like to gather in groups and form cliques. Then they measure their own value by the number of people gathered around them, so they become short and weak chickens one by one. You should burn everything you can touch, regardless of his plans, and burn it wherever he goes. Leave the future, the roots, all these behind, until you meet the strong. Your desire to realize your ideals is not strong enough. After Luhu heard the words, she was speechless by Ryomen Sukuna's words. Maybe she was persuaded, or maybe it didn't matter anymore, maybe. You were right. Ryomen Sukuna put his hands in his pockets and returned to his usual aloofness, but I'm a little bit happy. Human, Jujutsu division, cursed spirit, compared to the opponents I fought 1,000 years ago, you are pretty good. Cursed spirit, be proud. As soon as the words fell, a soul-burning scorching heat rose from within Luhu's body, and then disappeared in the wind. Cursed spirit, the strongest fire element, was finally burnt by the flames without leaving any scum, which is quite embarrassing. Just when Ryomen Sukuna was about to look for Lin Feng with the little time left, a figure rushed over from the nearby ruins and half-kneeled behind Ryomen Sukuna. Master Sukuna. I'm here to pick you up. You are. Ryomen Sukuna turned around to look, 4 eyes flashed with surprise. It's Rimei. Li Mei maintained a half-kneeling and submissive posture, and said respectfully, long time no see, how is your health? It's not bad, although the freedom is only temporary. Ryomen Sukuna saw the servant from 1,000 years ago, and his mood became better. Lin Feng, let's continue the business between us. Lin Feng? Li Mei turned her head and saw a slender figure walking over from the ruins behind her. She couldn't help being shocked. She didn't know that Master Jujutsu was approaching. Master Sukuna, let me kill this intruder. Li Mei immediately entered the state of battle, and was about to fight for Ryomen Sukuna. Li Mei, step back. Ryomen Sukuna said undeniably, he is my prey, and I can only enjoy it alone. Yes, Lord Sukuna. Before starting, Ryomen Sukuna still told Li Mei some words. It won't be long before I can regain my freedom, and the preparations for the unfinished business can be unrelenting. See you later, Lime. Follow me, I will wait for your return. Lime left. On a barren ruins, Lin Feng and Ryomen stood facing each other. Bass. An extremely fast invisible slash came towards Lin Feng. In the previous fight between Ryomen Sukuna and Luhu, the reason why they were able to decompose their bodies without touching them was entirely because after swallowing 15 fingers, their strength returned to more than half, and other abilities were also enhanced. Strength. Ryomen Sukuna's ability is simple, pure slashing. There are 2 kinds of slashing. The ordinary slashing is the solution, and the one-knife fatal one is adjusted according to the difference in spell power. Besides, the domain of Ryomen Sukuna is also different from other domains. Fumo Uchuzi will not separate the space through the enchantment, and does not need to close the enchantment, but can directly materialize the born domain. It's like painting without a canvas, painting directly in the air. It can be called a god. 8 doors Dunjia, 7th door, open the shocking door. Lin Feng opened his mouth and heard the sound of thunder. The mantra and energy in his whole body mixed and evaporated into blue steam. He raised his hand lightly and held down Ryomen Sukuna's slash. The 15-fingered Ryomen Sukuna had already crushed the super-grade cursed spirit, and Lin Feng didn't need to keep his secrets anymore, and directly opened the door to fight. A violent airflow swept out, making Ryomen Sukuna's clothes rattle. Ryomen Sukuna's face was full of excitement. It's great, Lin Feng, you really didn't disappoint me. Among my opponents thousands of years ago, there are not many with your strength. It really likes the feeling of fighting. Killing and fighting is the most perfect experience. Ryomen Sukuna immediately expanded the domain. Domain expansion Fumo Royal Cook. The next moment, Senhan's aura spread out centered on Ryomen Sukuna, and behind him, suddenly appeared a mountain of bones full of bull-headed giant skulls. An invisible momentum gushed out, intertwined with Lin Feng's aura. Boom. Boom. When the breaths of the two collided, their figures also collided together. Ryomen Sukuna's slashes unceremoniously slammed at Lin Feng, and Lin Feng also pressed down all the slashes with his tyrannical physique in a startled state. When they fought against each other, they exchanged dozens of moves. This is a competition between ultimate slashing and ultimate physical skills. In the fight between Lin Feng and Ryomen Sukuna, the fighting wave alone crushed the buildings further away. Happy, happy, what a pleasure. Ryomen Sukuna shouted excitedly as he fought. Before Lin Feng, no one had ever been able to fight him with a slash. The blue figure crushed towards Ryomen Sukuna with impenetrable punches. Lin Feng was also amazed. The 15-fingered Ryomen Sukuna is stronger than expected. The other special level cursed spirits can only be beaten by hanging in the whole process when they are in the startled state. And Ryomen Sukuna can actually last to the point of power balance. After a series of offensives, both Lin Feng and Ryomen Sukuna suffered wounds of varying degrees. Ryomen Sukuna's slash left a lot of cutting wounds on Lin Feng's body, and Lin Feng hit Ryomen Sukuna's blood spurting wildly with the iron fist of justice. As the battle heats up, Ryomen Sukuna is at a disadvantage. There is no other reason. Until now, Lin Feng has not let go of the 100% restriction on Jingmun. Even the day tiger is useless. After all, the current Ryomen Sukuna is still associated with Itadori Yuji, so it can't be too much. Lin Feng, I look forward to seeing you next time. The battle between Lin Feng and Ryomen Sukuna didn't last too long. After all, this battle is not based on Itadori Yuji voluntarily giving control of his physical body to Ryomen Sukuna, but a battle based on fulfilling the bondage. After performing a scene and swallowing 15 fingers, the control of the physical body was forcibly transferred to the hands of Ryomen Sukuna. Even if you don't fight Lin Feng, you will be replaced when the time comes. Lin Feng, I am looking forward to seeing you next time. At the last time limit, Ryomen Sukuna's figure fell from midair and the smile on its face was extremely excited. Before the time limit came, he began to look forward to his full body. Itadori Yuji, quickly collect 20 fingers, I can't wait. Before the replacement, Ryomen Sukuna also left a curse. After a while, Itadori Yuji, who was lying on the ground, regained consciousness, and the wound on his body has been healed by Ryomen Sukuna. Mr. Lin Feng, are you okay? During the time when Ryomen Sukuna was in control of his body, Itadori Yuji's consciousness was awake, which was equivalent to experiencing 2 battles from a first-person perspective. I'm fine. Lin Feng fell from midair and patted Itadori Yuji on the shoulder. Now that the bondage with Ryomen Sukuna is released, let's join everyone. Yes, Teacher Lin Feng, Shinkansen from Kyoto to Tokyo. Perhaps because of the late train, the tram compartment was very empty and there were very few passengers. Sitting on the seat, Miwa Kasumi's eyes were dull, her whole figure was like a marionette with broken strings, she lost all her aura, her eyes were a little red and swollen, and the tears on her cheeks were very obvious. 3 rounds. Let's go back. The winner is about to be decided. There is no point in rushing to Shibuya now. Let's go back, said the Machimaru badge in his hand. Miwa Kasumi stared blankly at the badge in her hand, and the always cheerful Miwa went offline. Why did you only tell Todo Senpai and Nida Senpai? Machimaru said. Because I judge that even in Shibuya, Todo Aoi will not die 90% of the time, and the same goes for Nida who is with him, and his spells will come in handy there. Then I'm a useless piece of trash. Miwa Kasumi became emotional in an instant, and the tears burst again and slid down her cheeks. 3 rounds. You don't have to blame yourself too much. This time the situation is completely beyond imagination and out of control. It is not in the same dimension as the battles experienced in the past. Not only you, but also Mai, Kamo, Nishimiya, and Utahime. I made a move in advance, so that everyone was assigned to perform tasks south of Kyoto on Halloween. Miwa Kasumi's voice was trembling. Why? I never heard you talk about it. Why didn't you come to consult with me? Aren't we companions? Because I'm too weak. No, Machimaru said very seriously. I am the weak one. Because I was weak, I chose the wrong method, and because I was weak, I couldn't make a mistake. I have someone I like very much, no matter what the world becomes, as long as I can protect her comprehensively by her side. Although perhaps the knight guarding her that she expected in her heart is not actually me. This is the bravest time Machimaru has ever done in his life. He poured out his heart and soul to the person he likes without reservation. 3 rounds, the time is up. Goodbye. Huh? Don't. Miwa Kasumi cried tearfully, clutching the Machimaru badge tightly, don't say goodbye to me. Machimaru's voice was extremely gentle, like a gentle wind. Miwa, you must be happy, no matter what form it is, as long as you live happily, it is equivalent to my wish come true. After the words fell, the effect of Machimaru's spell had also come to an end, and the metal would never light up again. Machimaru. Miwa Kasumi was looking at the car window, which reflected her crying face, when suddenly, for a split second, she saw Machimaru sitting next to her. Fleeting. In another carriage, other people from the Kyoto Institute have already gathered. Iori Utahime, Zenon Mai, Kamo Noritoshi, Nishimiya Momo, all of them silently listened to Miwa Kasumi's crying, but no matter how much they cried, Machimaru couldn't come back. Zenon Mai said blankly, Mr. Utahime, what do you do with Machimaru? Not to be held accountable. Iori Utahime said flatly, he himself has passed away. Kamo Noritoshi rubbed the center of his brows, a little helpless from sadness. This guy, I can't imagine that in his eyes, we are so useless. Nishimiya Momo tore off a whisker from the magic broom, tangled it and broke it. I said, Todo won't die over there, we'll die if we go, I don't care about such nonsense. But those bastards who dare to make my cute schoolgirl cry, kill without mercy. 22:36, Malaysia time, Kuala Lumpur time. In the magnificent top-level hotel, Mei Mei and Yu Yu both lay on the bed after taking a shower. Yu Yu, I'm sorry for making you work so hard. Mei Mei said softly, let's just sleep on the same bed today. Covering your mouth in worry and ecstasy, being able to share the bed with Sister Mei Mei is a gift from God, death is worth it. How can that be? It's too indiscreet. Hee hee. Do you hate your indiscreet sister? Mei Mei said in a charming tone. How is it possible? I can never hate my sister. Huh. Ming glanced at the mobile phone on the bedside table next to him. "I'll answer the call." Mei came to the floor-to-ceiling windows, opened the curtains, looked at the beautiful night in Kuala Lumpur, and connected the phone. "Sorry to bother you so late, it's morning over there." "Me? I'm in Kuala Lumpur, and it was you who transferred us here with magic tricks. We were almost killed at that time." Mei said. "I suggest that you sell the Japanese stocks and the real estate in Tokyo. I even exchanged all the money." "Yes, right now. It is estimated that it is inevitable that this incident will cause negative chain reactions in other major developed countries. In any case, Japan is still the world's third largest economy, but how to deal with it is a bit more benevolent. You don't need to thank me, just continue to help me prepare the movie banquet inside. Then please take care of me from now on."